What would be even better is if you gave him like Meph's phone number and he just all right, listener, you're on the air. What do you got to ask the boys about the NBA Finals here?
We tap into the call line from one of the local channels, and we actually just send their actual sports talk radio calls here.
Oh,
That'd be
God.
fantastic. You just answer them, but they have no idea who we are.
Dude, yeah. Dude, I'm astonished I haven't lost followers like these last 2 days. All I've been doing...
It's so wholesome. Because you have to like it. You have to have liked these NBA playoffs. 9 million more people watched these playoffs than the bubble. So
Yeah, it was up 34% or something like that.
Yeah.
From the bubble.
And think about how many you're losing with all the places open now. Like during the bubble, you didn't have the chance to crowd into like bars, and now you've got thousands of people that were probably watching in public
walking like one thing, or people at people's houses and everything like that.
Right.
Because ratings don't account for like group viewings.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean it was. I see Travis has subscribed to the Brendan School of Dress.
No sleeves.
No sleeves.
Good evening from Texas. Good evening, Soren.
Oh, Soren.
The mad lad himself.
The mad lad.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm just gonna get right into it. Welcome to the illustrious, the magical, the magnificent. Wait. Episode 100 of AOS RantCast. This is, of course,
singing.
Yeah, 100 of these. And that's just counting AOS RantCast. That's not like the random streams or the weird side stuff I've done. So I've been at this now for officially too long.
Tell me about it.
But it's all like it's the Simpsons rule, right? After 100, it's all downhill, right? That's the
some bangers.
Well, they've had a couple good ones since. Like the Neil Gaiman heist one is actually just as good as any classic, Simpsons. The whole premise is like they have to like heist a book premise or whatever, and so they put together a crew, and like Neil Gaiman is like the slapstick side character, and then at the end he's the one who double crosses them all for the book that is a bestseller. I think Lisa's trying to heist it or something like that. And in the end, like he double crosses the whole crew like a Kaiser Soze like plot twist. And he's sitting on the beach like drinking a Mai Tai, and he's like Neil Gaiman has heisted his way to another #1 bestseller.
I'm gonna have to find that. I never saw that one.
Oh, it's so good.
That's awesome.
It's one of the more, I mean, recent as in like the last like 6 years or so, but after everyone agrees it got bad, right? Like the World of Warcraft one was pretty good, where Marge gets addicted to World of Warcraft and Bart's the one who's like the nemesis killing everybody. Like that one was pretty good too. So they've had a couple good ones since. But they really do just kind of store up all their energy for like the Halloween, like, and then
Treehouse of yeah.
Well, the thing is like after episode 100, they spent the whatever rest of creative talent they had all went into Futurama.
Well, yeah, well, Groening left, right? Like he went and made the show about the sassy robot he always wanted to make.
Right.
I'm getting to benefit from my son has started watching The Simpsons pretty much this summer. He started at the very beginning of the show, and he's 9 going on 10. So much of it's over his head, but he's always heard about The Simpsons. So now he started watching it on Hulu. So I'm reliving all of these old episodes, and he's up to like season 10 now. He's like, "How long is this show?" I'm like, "You got a while to go, buddy."
So W. Soren donating $25 saying the Rantathon 30-hour charity raffle final item is an insane collection of Soulblight Gravelord's goodness. Yeah, that's actually care of the Cubic Shenanigans podcast, Brendan's podcast with Dan. So that's back-to-back years they provided like around 3,000 points of a death army. So like big shout outs to Cubic Shenanigans. If you do not follow Cubic Shenanigans, you have been podcasting wrong. To that end, if you do not follow this man's podcast below me, Playin' and Slayin', you're Wisconsining, you're gaming wrong in general. You just but since we're on the subject of the RantCast, or the Rantathon, I just want to like take the real quick moment to do a little self-advertising. If this is the only part of the 100 episode 100 you watched tonight, cool, man. But coming up July 31st through August
Next weekend.
1st, that's next weekend. We're starting at 10 a.m. on Saturday, running through 4 p.m. Sunday. That is 30 hours. That's up 3 hours from the last Rantathon. But I have help. Like we're doing this kind of like in the rant house. So we'll have like we'll actually have like a little bit of a rotation of hosts there, so I can sleep at one point. Unless you people truly are cruel enough to want to see me stay up 30 hours, I can do it. My upward limit's about 36 before things get really weird for me.
Are there ways people can donate to reduce your sleep? Like, are you setting donation thresholds, or you just forego any planned sleep?
It should be a competing donation. It should be Meph either gets an hour or loses an hour of sleep.
Oh,
There should be competing donations like Save the Pixels.
Oh,
Or
dude, we should.
SGDQ.
Yeah, no, you know what? Boom, we'll make it happen. Meph either gets to sleep like gets an hour or minus an hour before I come back on, or something like that. I love that. We'll do that. We'll do a competing donation. But for those of you who don't know or haven't watched it or have just heard about it through reputation, it is a 30-hour live Twitch marathon, kind of akin to GDQ. I used to work GDQ with World 9 Gaming back in the day, so I have experience working with them, and I did model this event after that. That is that there are sort of like blocks. Every 2 hours we have a different guest on, or series of guests. Every 2-hour block there is a different prize. There's stuff like a fully painted Curse City box provided by Soren, which is, dude, bust out the oils. It's stunning.
Really nice.
It's stunning. I mean, you could win a Vince Venturella painted model of your choice. He says within reason, like none of the huge stuff, but like basically up to like a like a decent champion. He said. Yeah. So a good like decent champion, painted by Vince Venturella.
Last year.
Yeah, he did that last year. He's doing it again. He's volunteered his time, and he'll pay for the mini too. So really great prize. There's unique one of a kind T-shirts. There's a dice tray. There's a Slanesh lot, which is I think practically like half of a Slanesh army, and on a different weekend could have been the grand prize. I am contractually obligated to make sure that a black coach gets donated every time I do a giveaway. It became a thing somehow. The first ever, when I hit affiliate, I did a little like celebration marathon, and I had just like a black coach that I gave away. You were there for that, Ty. You won I think you won some Night Hunt or something like that.
Some chain rasps, yeah.
Yeah. So and then like during the Rantathon, someone donated a black coach to like to be a donation prize, and like this year I'm like, you got to go through. You got to go for the three-peat. So I bought a black coach myself, and to sweeten the pot, I've got a box of in route Grimghast Reapers, chain rasps, and a excruciator. So to add to that, so little Night Hunt lot to get you started. Oh, and Spirit House, because I'm a masochistic bastard.
Oh God.
And for another accelerator, you could have Brendan build the Spirit Host for somebody.
Fine.
Fine. So like I said, every 2 hours there's a different prize. We actually have some like kind of late prizes coming in that we might need to slot into, where some of the blocks might have multiple things to give away. That schedule will be up this weekend on Tiltify link that I'll have for everybody, so you can see the full schedule, the guests, and what prizes are on the blocks. So you can like set your alarm clock to like, man, I really want to win that like that Curse City box or whatever it is. You can set that alarm for that. If you donate throughout the whole marathon, the minimum threshold. What did we set the minimum threshold here at, Brendan?
50.
Well,
it's 5 per block, to win that block.
Right.
Right. And then I think we set it at 50 over the course of the weekend. You can either donate all 50 of it once, or 5 across 10, or any combination therein, or more, obviously, if you want. You know, so because we wanted to do some encouraging to keep people engaged across the different blocks. Now, if you don't have the time and you're just really super interested in the Soul Blight block, you know, during any of the 2 hours, you just dump your $50 in and you get your entry. Everyone only gets one to the grand prize to keep it equitable across all of it. So there's no pay to win scheme here.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Minimum $5 donation enters you for any of the prizes on the prize block. That way, you know, any little bit can help. You know, for me, it was important that, like, hey man, like, your cup of coffee can get you the potential to win a prize. And so it's not quite a raffle. You can't pay for extra entries. And you're certainly encouraged to donate. And, you know, I know times are tough, so if you can't donate, signal boost. And, you know, if you can't signal boost or whatever, take care of yourself, because, you know, your mind matters, and I want you. That's what this is all about. It's about the mental health. I think the world, when we're all in a better mental health state, I think we all just operate a little bit better in our day to day and with each other, and you know, I don't want to go too cerebral with it, but you know, it's like the Matrix, man. Your mind makes it real, right? So so we want to make sure that we're helping folks out. So it is for Mental Health America. We're trying to, you know, raise a bunch of money, and you can win a bunch of sweet stuff. So next weekend, July 31st, 10 a.m. Central Time. Please tune in. Please tell people about it, and if you're able to, please donate. So that's my spiel. That's
a good spiel.
Oh, the shirts are excellent.
Awesome.
Yeah, dying to batik, and I had to look up the pronunciation on batik because I had no idea what it was. Like, they're, man, I'll see if I got a photo here to pull up. But, well, you guys, if you want to cover some dead air for me.
Yeah, the t-shirt's really cool. I think they use beeswax to
Beeswax,
dye them and everything, and they're really sweet. I know that they have a bunch of like videos for how they make their shirts on like Instagram.
Oh, on the Instas, yeah.
On the Instas. So if you're on the Instas, check them out there, and you can see how they make all the sweet shirts.
Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna block up. Sorry, chat gang. You know what? No, I'm gonna block Ty for a second.
Yeah, block me.
Yeah, there we go. Ty is blocked out. So like here, they do this like ice dyeing technique, and so as the ice melts, it like displaces the tie-dye across everything, and it forms these like really wicked cool like faces. So like over here we have like the spooky Frighteners face from that movie, The Frighteners, and like this one here looks like a Bestigor to me. But you know, that's just me. So that's the back of them, and then you know, two different shirts, so you could potentially win one or the other. Blood Knight's icon, or Blood Dragon as I used to know it, on one of them, and then the Mephisto logo on the other. No one in the world will have this shirt. You will be the only person that has this shirt. You know, so yeah, a lot of cool stuff.
Collector's items when you cash in on your millions.
Yeah, when I'm super famous, yeah, making Warhammer content.
Set that 10 per city and get your signature on the shirt.
All right, let me catch back up with chat gang here. 100, that's right. And of course, since it is a 100 episode, it means that all my episodes after this will be bad, except for around Halloween, which, you know, honestly tracks for me. Like the Simpsons rule.
You know, Meph, you can't get to 100 without a couple of 50s.
Oh, I see what you're saying. 1 second.
I'm surprised that because the Giannis and the 50 for 50, that the Rantathon didn't all of a sudden become a 50-hour thing so that Meph could also have 50.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that is a lot of time.
See, with the competing donations, I'm looking for it to get like real out of control real early.
Yes.
Where like we force Meph to have to go to sleep for like 17 hours.
That'd be amazing.
All right, buddy, off the show.
See you later.
And then the stay up longer crowd comes in and just swings it heavy the other way.
Yeah.
Just in the middle of the night, like, come on, you got a can. Oh.
Just so somebody like Chuck can burst in and make him do push-ups.
Chuck's at a tournament that weekend, so he's not going to be able to.
Do we have a
be-
stand-in?
Oh, maybe Bryce.
All right, because fitness is important for that marathon.
It's great. You got to stay in shape.
Round is a shape.
It
It
certainly
is.
is. I speak from experience. Round is a shape.
All right, that was the good boss. The good boss is good. All right. See, that's why we do it live. You never know what you're gonna get. Mephisto might be on call and being
You
irresponsible.
might get a dog. Never know.
Yeah, dogs could show up. I think we gotta put a cap on the get up, go to sleep thing. I'm physically incapable of sleeping like beyond a certain amount. Big Raiders. Oh, Raiders.
Okay.
1-Inch Heroes, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome to the 100th episode, the allegedly musical episode of RantCast.
I was invited on, so we're all in trouble.
Oh no.
Take over.
I was the captain of 2 of my sports teams as a senior in high school, and I was democratically voted against singing on the team bus.
Unbelievable!
Vote of no confidence was held.
After those votes, he actually joined the Glee Club and has enjoyed a career in music.
Which surprised Chuck was a highlight. Yeah, Chuck's at Du Bois or Ren 4, so I don't think we're gonna get like a surprise Chuck this time. But he said he might throw in like a gank somewhere. But
You get the double secret surprise, Chuck.
is that what it is? He's been lying to me. No, that was good. Yeah, so we got a bunch of guests. Vince is coming back. We're kicking off with Travis Winter. If I can borrow Haywo's camera equipment, we'll actually theoretically have a some Warhammer actually physically going on that you can like see in like a cutaway shot type thing. So it should be pretty good this year. And then keeping it real, right on. And then Hades saying their mental health is hinging on whether or not the new War Clans is going to be good. So I don't know if you're going to like this or not, but I've heard through the grapevine that their crossbows are actually pretty strong. So
Gross.
yeah, I know. Like orcs that are good at shooting. Who wants those?
It better be. They're called man skewers. If you're going to call something a man skewer, it's got to be able to skewer men.
Yeah, but men usually have like 5-up saves. Sometimes 6-up if they're like flagellants. Or no, flagellants are dashes, aren't they?
Skewer.
Gargant skewers. Is that what you're saying?
They're not called gargant skewers is exactly what I'm saying.
Well, if you shoot enough of them, they can skewer a gargant. Just got to hit the same spot again and again. We've all seen it in the Robin Hood where it splits the arrow.
Yeah. I like the Men in Tights one where he's got the like what is it like the Patriot arrow or whatever it is.
Yeah. And then has to pull out the script to see. You mean I didn't win?
Oh my gosh, Mel Brooks. If you thought that you were going to get for the 100th episode a focused and tight and like flowing show, you fools.
You're wrong.
Yeah, I lack the ability to be focused and or tight.
But you actually have like show notes for playing and slaying. Like you literally have show notes.
If I didn't have Troy, I wouldn't have show notes. I'm the ideas. I'm like, hey, let's talk about this. That'd be super cool. And then I go, what were we going to talk about? And Troy goes, I put show notes out there. Here you go. Update the show notes. And then 15 minutes before the show, it's typing furiously. Thoughts get on paper.
There you go. So I haven't listened a little while. I kind of checked out from stuff for a bit, and I'm just now getting back in. But how's D&D going?
We're having fun. We're
Question.
doing Rime of the Frost Maiden at the moment.
Right on.
And enjoying that setting. I don't know, Brendan, you're playing in that one.
Yeah, I am, and I sleep through a lot of it.
Well, I mean,
the-
after 8 o'clock, you just
Yeah, it's out,
Yeah.
out like a light. Yeah, it's been pretty good. Gosh, so we've been on a bit of a hiatus the last like month-ish.
I mean, there were other things going on several of our gaming nights.
Basketball mostly.
Mainly basketball.
Oh my gosh.
Mostly basketball. A lot of basketball going on. And then some like real life from other people, but you know, most importantly, basketball.
Basketball is still real life.
Yeah. So
There's a link
I
to
think
Planet
we-
Flame.
I think we left off with like our Chartle Dragon fight and the aftermath of that. That was pretty crazy. My character, almost against my will, killed a player character because I could not pass wisdom saves, and it was like the one character that everyone thought was like gonna be totally fine, and then my character revolves around standing still and using as their bonus action and getting rerolls on their range shot, and I was supposed to close the distance with the player character as part of the rule. And so I was like, no worries, we're not on advantage. Cool. I crit with a sneak attack and almost zero this guy. Like, he's AC like 24 or something dumb. Like,
I
is-
see you're a man of fine taste playing a rogue in 5e.
well, I'm playing a ranged rogue. Yeah.
Oh,
that's a
disgusting.
key-
Tuh. I take it back.
It's the new like grave speaker rogue in
that's-
Tasha's Cauldron.
Has grave in it. I take it back in reverse.
Yeah, you'd love this subclass. You'd love this character. It's super cool. We kind of like homebrewed a speak with dead kind of like ability on the character
Nice.
that, you know, sometimes we use and sometimes we forget about, and sometimes it gets us out of binds. So it's really neat. There's some cool mechanics. There's Whales of the Grave, which is extra sneak attack damage to nearby enemy units, and I think when I get to level 7, there's a way to like use a ton more of them, and I'm super looking forward to that. But yeah, it's a really cool setting in that like it's just super open world, and Ty's been really good about just letting us kind of roam around and do our own thing, and
Opening restaurants. I'm still
yeah,
waiting for the business plan.
I need people to send me back an email. That-
Well,
That's when you just have to go ahead and make the plan without them and then be like, this is just what the business plan is. No objections? Great. Done.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
every group project ever in college.
Yeah.
One person does all the work.
It's just a game of chicken being like, so do I hope that they do it or do I go ahead and just do it all?
Yeah.
Which
Very
do we
close
do
line
here?
to my career these days.
We just gotta hope that they both don't choose to not do anything.
Right on. Hey, G-Dad, how's it going? So G-Dad actually donated a couple prizes to the Rantathon this year. One of them being a Dominion box. So you're talking about Kruleboyz. Dominion boxes in there. Someone said convince me to play to switch to Swamp Orcs. Yeah, okay.
Vulture.
Hang on. Let me
Big
yeah,
monsters.
Vulture.
The
man
vulture.
skewers.
I was just gonna show you the picture of the vulture. I have
See, but I'm gonna turn that into an undead parrot.
I'm gonna turn it into an undead
Brilliant.
something.
Absolutely
But
fantastic.
parrot? No.
Yeah, for my for my vampirates. I'm gonna turn it into a big giant zombie parrot.
You know what? It's on theme for you, so I support this. I'm thinking like of a Xanthos type conversion or something like. Problem is like OBR don't have any flying models, so I got to be like, you know.
Have it
Make
put
it-
it on a
Make it a
catapult
flightless bird.
and then just run it as a catapult.
Yes,
So,
it flies out and hits you. It's like the blood vultures for
yeah,
for ogre bot tribes. Like it
Yep.
flies out, hits you, and then flies back. Yes.
yeah,
It is the catapult.
it is the catapult.
There we go. I looked at that thing, I fell in love. I've never been tempted. That's not true. I really like Gloomspite Gits, but I only like a couple of them I think are some of the greatest sculpts I've ever seen. But the totality of the army and the prospect of running 120 like goblins is just not something I'm into. But I'm getting a little
You could even build a big giant bone skeleton and have the giant vulture perched on the arm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it goes out and hits people and then comes back, and that's your catapult.
Or just put all of Catacross on the Howdah. Like
yeah,
the whole
that'd be great.
Like on the Howdah, and then it's just like, so cool. Or that's a zombie dragon. I mean, that could easily go into my Soulblight Gravelords. But But I don't want to do the easy thing. No. As far as convincing you to play Kruleboyz, I mean, I can't say anything without the book being out, you know. My line is often, the 100% new thing is rarely bad. Like, they just... It's like League of Legends. The new champion is almost never bad. It's almost always good, because they want you to buy it. I mean, this isn't... It's not like it's a Machiavellian scheme that nobody knows is coming with a, you know, in a capitalist society, that the business who tries to stay in business is going to sell the new thing and make the new thing good. It's very rare that it goes the opposite direction. It does happen, but usually that's an oversight and not the intent.
And then it rebounds hard.
Right. So I mean, think about like IDK was a all edition long, like just kind of a nightmare, right? Like it was a litmus test for people. Soulblight Gravelords are Brendan. I think they're good, right?
I think they're good.
Didn't we both have our shows say that the book is good, and a bunch of people were like, "No, man, we don't think this is good." Don't you have some sort of objective, some sort of objective proof
that it might be okay?
Yeah, I think I do.
Oh, is it
nice?
Excuse me, just a moment. Let me reach to my collection of hardware.
Best general at Circle Cities Clash with Soulblight Gravelords defeating 2 Sons of Behemoth players from the Detroit Warhammer Club.
That's right.
Seems all right. Yeah.
The land of monsters itself.
Yeah.
Gore-Troit.
G-Dad dropping 1,000 RDP to remind everyone that Chat Gang ain't none to mess with, and Hotspur dropping 1,000 RDP to remind everyone that Chat Gang ain't nothing to mess with. So yeah, no, SBG, I think they're legit. I don't think they're overtuned. I think they're good. You know, just...
Yeah, no, it required some really solid play on my part to be able to get in that position, but the army itself wasn't hurting me in any of that operation.
Right, and that's important. I mean, that's where I want an army to be ideally. I don't want it to be in like an autopilot, like low thinking army, which I do think Sons of Behemoth is in that category right now, just because of the changes with... I mean, no army is truly autopilot. We have a lot of decisions to make in this game.
Unbelievable!
That's a...
They just don't have very many.
Right. I mean, that's a misnomer, but some armies take less mental bandwidth than others. I think Sons of Behemoth takes less mental bandwidth than most others. That's not me panning them. I defended that book when it came out. Once again, in the minority, me and Vanilla Sauce said this army was good. And then we hung our mission accomplished banner that said, "We told you so," when lo and behold, it was a good army. Wasn't the army people necessarily wanted, but that didn't mean it didn't perform well, right? And these are two separate things, and I can't, you know, one's a subjective thing, one's an objective thing. I can't tell you subjectively how you should feel about how an army should play, right? Like that's all on you, man. Like respect what full respect to people's opinions on that stuff. But to look at the army and be like, this army's trash, you're objectively wrong on Sons of Behemoth. Like it's a good army. But like the point is like the new armies are very rarely bad. So I don't see Kruleboyz being bad. And I would expand on that by saying Warclans has low-key been one of the strongest books of all of 2.0. Like, just wall-to-wall, it was good throughout all of 2.0. Basically, it was...
Well, from their release point.
Yeah, that's what they said, the Warclans book, right? And then Ironjaw specifically had that like 6-month period of GHB changes where they were like casino Casino Wah, and that was
Casino Wah.
like pure insanity. Like you push all the poker chips to the middle and just like tee off infinite Wahs. Like
Pigs did fly.
yeah, right. Soren, I'm dropping a 10,000 RDP to remind everyone the chat gang ain't none to fuck with. Luke Skywalker dropping 1,000, and then Ty gifting 5 gift subs to the community. Thank you so much for that.
Look at this guy.
I'm in chat. I'm paying attention. Actively engaged.
What is Kainan like from Underworlds? Does he work well in OBR? No.
I'll put him in a list that he featured on his show, but there's whatever that is, Nagash list. I think he used him only for because he's a wizard. What's his name did, but
yeah, you're allowed 1 pet unit. You can run him as a pet, and that's where it stops. I wanted him to have like just a truly crushing attack profile, like to really kind of bring him home. And they didn't really do that. All these like
he's okay.
I'd run him as like just your Soul Reaper. Your Soul Reaper is like kind of a value pick right now. Like if you a Soul Reaper or like I'd run him in that situation. I've got him sitting back here. There's mine. I love it so much. You can't make me hate it. Like, oh, it's so cool. One of the fucking coolest sculpts I've ever seen. Like, just hands down. It is an S tier sculpt.
Likely to use his giant axe as a conversion for something. Like, I just love that weapon.
Good size.
Leave him alone. You keep it. No, I don't care what you do.
I won't touch yours, man.
Right, and then I've got my Crimson Court, which also was a small letdown. I wish that they had been like in an alternate reality. Yeah, there's your Crimson Court together and painted, unlike mine, just in the box. Look, it makes me feel good that it's in the box. All right, it's for me.
I'm 3/4 of the way done. I got 1 to go. But Travis is done. That's
right on.
The other thing though is now that Bloodborne, you can run Bloodborne separately. You could also run them because they have the same base sizes. You could run them as Bloodborne if you don't want to use the.
Oh my God, you're a genius! I was trying to figure out how to buy 3 more.
Perfect.
Well, you could enter to win a Curse City box on the Rantathon and find your way to 3 more.
Yeah. True. Oh no, it's a great idea. Running them. No, that's perfect. Running the main dude as like your actual vampire lord. That's easy. Like.
Yeah, you just take the main one. He's a vampire lord, and the other 3 are Bloodborne. If you want more Bloodborns.
Yeah,
perfect. You just got to chuck him on a 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put the piece of cake though.
Yeah, who doesn't have extra bases just sitting around their entire house at all times, like in boxes, tucked off in the corner, and you forget.
Littered around my house.
Yeah, just literally littered around, all over my office. Like, I've used a pie plate as a coaster the other day, like in my living room, not even in my office, which is where you might expect that to be the story that I just in the actual living room, like coaster. The Bloodborne are already painted in that box, though. It's true.
Which is great.
No,
I don't have to paint.
No, I think that's. I mean that Curse City box set is. I mean, it's a grand prize in and of itself. It's so like well painted, and
I'm pretty sure that Soren called Games Workshop and got them to rewrite the War Scrolls in the FAQ so that that box could just be pure stonks.
Pure stonks. Oh yeah.
Pure.
Oh yeah. Gorslav.
Oh, he's so much fun.
Magnificent.
It is so defeating if you're just running a block of 60 zombies for no reason other than just being able to shovel 30 of them back. Just the person you're playing is just going, I gotta kill 30 more of those. Like, you don't even have to roll for it. They're just there because the 75-point weirdo that can bounce wounds to zombies.
Yeah, this 75-point freaking Guillermo del Toro nightmare creature. Like, it's It's probably my favorite sculpt in the Curse City range, and it's got the best rules. And that is he's the anti-Lotan. Like, we've got it.
Yeah, he's the anti-Lotan. Yep, that's fair.
Yeah, if you're running zombies, get a Gorslav. And I look forward to everyone's bad proxies of Gorslav because of the limited freaking Curse City run. Oh, man. See, neurotically, I don't want to break up my Curse City box because, like, I want, like, my Curse City models are going to be for playing the board game. I actually want to play the board game. But I'm not buying another Curse City box, so guess that fucking went out the window immediately.
See, I made a gamble that they were going to eventually break them up. And so I got one Curse City and then immediately went to eBay and bought extras of each of the things
Smart.
that I thought that they would make extras of. And it worked out.
Smart.
Good.
Nice.
I couldn't get it when it first came out. Everyone wanted it because of the sculpt. Main warband. How's Underworlds? No, I mean, a lot of the Underworlds warbands are like top tier sculpts. Like, I even have in my regular in my regular skeletons, like just my skeleton warriors, I've got the Shadespire box set just in there as points of visual interest. Like, they're just regular ass skeletons.
It's not bad in Soulblight if you like randomly only have 80 points or whatever they are.
Are they? Yeah. No, that's cool. Rantathon prizes this year are on point. Yeah, there's some really good ones in there. Like, really, truly.
Nice.
Love this sculpt, the Skelly with the spear.
Oh yeah, super
Good.
dope. Is that a purple cape I see? You have chosen correctly.
No, it's no red and copper. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as Kainan, Mir Kainan, which is one of the coolest names in Age of Sigmar as well. It's like, come here, and then he's gonna kill you. And I don't have a rhyme for Kainan, but Mir Kainan. Yeah, I'll work on one. Like Mir Kainan, more like come here, I'm killing ya.
Yikes.
We'll be here all night.
Also give us the crab.
Don't forget to tip your waitstaff. Try the pot roast.
Yikes.
Your Gorslav is on top of your Kraken Eater. Oh no. Like, he's just like hooked on top of the Kraken Eater, like dying or something.
It's really sweet conversion if you haven't seen it.
Oh, I must have missed this conversion.
It's solid.
It's really good.
It's really good.
I'd say throw it up in the Discord, but send it to me on Twitter so I can actually look at it without having to switch off here. I regret nothing. I missed all the Season 1 warbands. I regret nothing. Yeah, I mean, Games Workshop is very good at getting our money. I mean, they're fantastic at it. And just the Shadespire being kind of underpowered, but being such good sculpts to where you just want them for your army anyway. Plus doubling as a gateway drug to people who are like, I don't want to play like 2,000 points, right? You're like, oh, you kind of want to play with some minis and you want to play this weird card game. Like, it's just genius. It's actually like pure like marketing sort of genius. And as long as they keep making great sculpts, I forgive their like shameless capitalism. Oh man, I have my price. Turns out it's looking good. I am.
At least you don't have to get the models from Shadespire or Underworlds, whatever it is, in like random booster packages.
Oh, that'd be a nightmare.
That'd be terrible.
See, that would be like, oh yeah, like a loot box system. See,
collectible miniatures game.
They do that in 40K.
For some heroes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but if you buy the whole box of it, you're guaranteed to get all of them.
Yeah, sure. Spend enough.
Yeah, spend enough, you'll get all of them.
Make it happen.
Oh, that makes me want to vomit. Oh no, they found a way to do loot boxes in tabletop. No.
But it's optional loot boxing. Like,
is it though? I feel programmed enough to buy that I just have to buy it.
They have done studies in terms of video games that the actual like cycle, even like with cosmetics that don't have game impacts and optional loot boxing, it's still has the same stressors and anxieties of like needing to progress the game that everything else does. And
But, like,
yeah, go ahead.
if you want all 7 of them, and who has looked at any of those Space Marines and I only want like that second one. You buy just the package that it ships in that has only 7 of them, and that's it, and you're done. And it's just like buying an expensive kit. It's just they're boxed like 7 heroes.
They're somewhere in my basement, still in box, and I have them. And I don't need to take them out and build them and paint them.
Here's that
because
conversion.
I've collected them.
Dude, I love the earring, like the blue pop of color. That's really nice. And like Gorslav is piloting him. Like that's
awesome.
That's sick. That's freaking awesome, man. Oh man, how did I miss this one?
Yeah, don't know. It's right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, no, that's metal AF. Yeah, HeroClix has been loot boxes in tabletop since its start. I mean, yes. I mean, CCGs are loot boxes too, right? Like that's that's the obvious joke is that CCGs, and they found a way to port it into video games and so on and so forth. But like the thing is only like 4 people played HeroClix. Sure, I was one of them, but it was HeroClix that everyone was into, right?
HeroClix was when I tried to play, and I couldn't because the symbols on the wheel were all like colors, and I'm colorblind, so I couldn't tell what the various symbols were. It was very hard for me to play.
No, see, I played Mage Knight, not HeroClix. It was Mage Knight was the one I played, and it was straight trash, but I kept pulling fucking stupid Elven Archers. So I had this like really spammy Elven Archer army with like 1 Treant or something like that. And it was really annoying, I guess, for all of my opponents to play against. And I hated it too. And you could tell I hated it, but it was what I kept ripping from boxes, and it was the best thing I could make with the stuff I ripped from boxes. Oh god. Like I'm having like PTSD flashbacks to playing Mage Knight now. And
you played the Mage Knight board game?
No.
I've heard it's actually very good, but I've never played it.
No, I remember one of the big selling points of Mage Knight was it wasn't as finicky as Warhammer. Like, because at the time, they were trying to like kind of make a lower price point competing with Warhammer Fantasy Battle, right? And they're like, oh, you don't need terrain and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's all the shit that makes it cool. Like, just be like, it's cheaper. Except, of course, it's not cheaper because, it's really easy to just keep spending, $20, $20, $20, $20. So, but that's why Shadespire is brilliant, because it's like hammering the gap between the two. It's genius. So, I go out of MTG early, blah blah blah. So, one thing I did want to talk about, like I'm not gonna make Brendan do a full tournament report of Circle City Clash. If you want to hear how he dominated with Soulblight Gravelords, he's recording that show tomorrow night. It'll probably drop like Sunday, Monday.
Probably Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. If you want to hear how to dominate with Soulblight Gravelords and impress all your friends, look forward to that. It wasn't an easy draw either. Like you played against 2 of the Detroit Warhammer clubs, probably arguably 2 of their best. Like Sean's up there too, but one American team championship roster member, and then the president of
Sir, I am the American team champion alongside Carson Burns, Jacob Berry, and Zachary Cachetta.
My bad.
3 years undefeated, mind you. They are members of Team America for the World Team Champion.
Oh, that's what it was. My bad. No, I'm sorry.
Please don't respect Team Run ATC. Thank you.
Yeah, no disrespect, man. But yeah, you had to play through.
Always.
He's still wearing it. When was the last time that tournament ran? By the way, was it 3 years ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah.
It's been canceled for 2 years in a row. We've signed up for all of them. We've never been defeated in the subsequent years.
Technically correct. The best kind of correct. Yeah.
The best kind of correct.
Yeah.
You're the champs until someone can take it away, and nobody has taken it away. So
Right.
No, it's not wrong. But yeah, so if you guys will hear about that, but one thing I do want to talk about is sort of like passion. I think I've had this Twitter conversation. I had this Twitter conversation about a month ago with someone on the internet. And I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was because it's just pictures, the picture box, and it shows me pictures of avatars. And sometimes I don't read the names because they're just these really long inside jokes, and I have no idea. I can't remember who it was. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disingenuous. But it was just a conversation that they just said, like, it was one of those like viral threads, like admit something about yourself, and they said, I've never listened to Prince. Now, I don't know if many of y'all know anything about me, but I was born in Minnesota, raised in North Carolina, and I reside in Wisconsin. I consider myself a Wisconsinite for all intents and purposes, but you can't be born in Minnesota without like having this like this gravitational pull towards Prince. It's impossible. And I think for like the rest of the country, it's probably similar, but it's like double X gravity if you're from Minnesota. And he I like one of my favorite musicians, and this person's like, hey, I've never listened to Prince, and I'm just like, in my world, I'm like, this isn't even something. And I promise that I'm tying this into Age of Sigmar in a second. This is one of my weird. This isn't a full rabbit hole. And I gave this person advice, and like that advice I gave them trended. Like that's like the thing that I've had probably retweeted and liked the most is like the one tweet I sent to this person, which was, find someone in your circle of friends that does love Prince and learn about Prince through the lens of their passion. I think that this is something you can apply to virtually all walks of life. So if there's something out there, and I think about, and when I think about this in terms of like the AOS context, there are armies that I straight up do not like, right? Like we all have them, right? If you want to go around the room and name the army you just hate, we can do that real quick because people like negativity. But Skaven, all right, Brendan. So Skaven didn't even think about it. Didn't even have to get it out. Mine has traditionally been Tzeentch. You can clip that and be like, Mephisto hates Tzeentch. He's a Tzeentch hater, and then take it out of context or whatever.
That's how you get canceled. Yeah,
until I get canceled for not liking Tzeentch or whatever. Deepkin says Arctic Circle. Everyone's got like an army that you just don't jive. It's the if you have like a big brother who always used to beat you in a video game, you hated that character they always played, right? Like irrationally. There's like everyone's got an army kind of like that in Age of Sigmar, I think. And when you're on Twitter, we speak in binary, and that's a double entendre because zeros and ones, but also someone says something and then like you say something sort of, and it's the way it's presented and the way the entire algorithm is set up to work in Twitter is that thing that you say back then sort of feels, just with our culture and everything, feels antagonistic or like a pushback, right? Like that's why you get the limited characters, because you can't be nuanced. That's why the whole thing is set up the way it is. And it's really easy when you're on the internet to like have the I hate Tzeentch, or I hate this army, and so on and so forth. And we very rarely get a complete or holistic view of others' armies. For every person out there making me hate Tzeentch because they're playing Change Host, and I'm like, oh god, Change Host again. There's somebody out there who genuinely just loves their derpy gumball monsters and silly birds. His name is Dr. Alex. He's a friend of the show. But that's kind of where I'm going with this is this weird like sort of negativity noise feedback loop that so easily forms on the internet. We're not often looking at it through the lens of others' passion, usually passionately through our own point of view. And I really do think that if you take time and like if you have a friend who's like passionate about the army, or like just that sort of one tier removed from your like sort of inner circle of friends, you have that sort of like extended circle of friends where you have that person, take the time to like give them the sort of like the good faith moment of bonding and just see why they love their army. And I think when you do that, you get a broader appreciation for the game itself. And I think this applies to virtually everything. Prince, I've never listened to Prince. Well, the first listen to Prince, should it be just the radio? It should be hanging out with someone who loves them, and is probably way too much of a nerd and like, oh, he recorded this song this time, and like, you're like, okay, hey, dial it back a little bit. I'm trying to process here. But, you know, in Warhammer, I find that for me, the passion, the love, the drive that other people's have, that's what helps me not be, quite frankly, such an asshole. Because it's really easy to be an asshole on the internet. What do we got here? I know everyone's minds are blown right now. I killed chat. Like, chat has just stopped dead. Usually I'm not
nuanced. Rant harder.
No,
Rant more.
No, that's you know, usually I'm not that like explicit and bludgeoning with my message, right? Like I'm not, you know, like usually the message that I'm trying to get across for the episode is like hidden, you know, like oftentimes it's like fuck capitalism and it's just like hidden behind layers of stuff like
Well, I think it was you that put up a meme. It's the huge like amount of coffee coming into the small cup, and it's the like me talking about that. But that is like passion. I mean, when you are excited about something, you're invested in something, you have all of this that you want to share. Because I think passion to some people might be highly personal and something that they contain and keep inside. But for me at least, it's something I want to share. You know, like love of RPGs, love of like I appreciate baseball, the game, like sitting at a game and keeping score, and just like I want to share these things with others in hopes that they find enjoyment and they find happiness or joy in these things too. And it's that fine line of I'm oversharing, I'm you know, just I can't stop to okay, I get it. I've given you enough to think about
Right.
and chew on. Go see if you like it too.
Right. Well, and see that's what makes us nerds. We don't know where that line is where we've talked too much about our nerd thing. That's why you're a nerd. You can't shut up, basically. Like that's where you become a nerd. You know, sports have been the socially acceptable nerddom for a long time. Think about it. They cosplay as the players. Like
Yeah.
they paint their faces, like they're all about the stats and numbers like an
Obsessed
RPG
with
nerd.
stats.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like have mock
Go to giant
drafts.
conventions that they call games.
Yeah, they go to conventions that cost way more than our conventions that they call sports games. You know, like they have entire like haunts that they go to that are dedicated to just that, called a sports bar. Like they're the big difference was that when you were into sports, it was socially acceptable to be in sports, and everyone else was a weirdo if they weren't on your level. And like we've actually within my lifetime watched that dynamic shift, which has been fantastic. Because now it's like we dismissively, I use it too. Sports ball, like, oh, they're talking about sports ball, and like we've done this thing where we've kind of like, you say sports ball dismissively, and like kind of you're dismissing and shitting on somebody else's passion when you like. You're not gonna hurt my feelings by calling sports ball. Like I said, I call it that. But that paradigm shift happened, and like now it's like if you're talking about Marvel or Star Wars, and they're not, or at the height of Game of Thrones, if you were talking, like you just assumed people had seen Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead or were in on the MCU or whatever thing, and you assumed that and started talking about it. And when people didn't reciprocate in public spaces now, they were the weird ones. And we've watched this like weird little paradigm shift where like the dominant status quo has kind of become nerdery. But like it's all nerds, always has been, like astronaut meme. Like
That's Disney bought ESPN.
yeah, Disney bought ESPN. Like what more proof do you need?
What more proof do you need? Like
well, ESPN actually aired the MTG championships. They aired StarCraft championships back in the day. Like, like it's to me, it comes back to that like not yucking somebody's yum. Like, yeah, if you like browbeat me with your interest, you know, I'm gonna check out and you know. But like, if I have a personal curiosity and I'm like, hey, you know, what's up with this thing? Unload. I have given you like. You know, I have given you like the sort of like go ahead to just like tell me everything, and you know I like to joke that like I'm just the type of person who's very curious, and if I see somebody like doing that is the best at something or super passionate about something, I'll like kind of quirk my brow. Like I'm the guy who falls down internet holes all the time, Like, this person's the best crocheter in the universe, and I'm like, oh really? What's the best crocheter in the universe look like? And I just have that, like, I have that. Not everyone does. Where you're like, I'll start. One night I got I never was a skateboarder. Actually, I kind of had a little, as a younger kid, I was like in the goth punk crowd. So I had a little bit of a disdain for like the skater kids, because they're all like fake punk to me, and and they were usually like middle class, and I was lower, I was poor, and or they projected that, and so their moms had the vans and stuff. That was my area. I don't know, whatever your area is going to be different, right? And so I always kind of like a little bit of a light disdain for the Avril Lavigne like skater boy crowd, like And then one night, as an adult Mephisto, and I like to think that I'm better now than I was as a kind of a shitty kid, I just like suddenly needed to know everything about Rodney Mullen. I saw just one video of him like disco skateboarding, or it was like disco skating or something like that. And I'm like, this is the guy that was in Tony Hawk Pro Skater, because even if I didn't like skateboarding, like, I love good video games, and Tony Hawk Pro Skater's a fucking dope-ass game. It had fucking Ace of Spades on the soundtrack. It had fucking Motorhead. It had Flogging Molly. Like, good tunes, man. Yeah, and I remember, like, just suddenly I, like, and then Haywo, by the way, like, I'm airing some of his laundry here, so pardon me. He likes skateboarding. And so, like, this is something I always knew about him, but we never had that conversation, right? Because he like, I knew he skateboarded. I didn't really like it. Wasn't something we talked about. But then here I am, more than a decade later, I DM him. I'm like, I just watched 6 hours of Rodney Mullen skateboarding videos. Tell me everything you know. And then we had this, like, conversation that went up until, like, 4 a.m. where he told me, like, about Rodney Mullen. Rodney Mullen's on, like, on the autism spectrum. They believe, and so like he just hyper fixates on skateboarding, and this is the person who invented like almost every freestyle trick, and every freestyle trick they do right now is just a variant on something like Rodney Mullen did. Like, yeah, what, he likes skateboarding? No, yeah, I know, doesn't it?
That's why I'm like actually like low-key excited they're doing another Jackass movie. Because I grew up watching all those absolute idiots doing everything, and now, I mean, they're just, a little older than I am, things like that, them still continuing to just capitalize on being idiots.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a Schadenfreude, right? The whole rantathon back and forth of whether I sleep or not is Schadenfreude, right? There's just a little bit that the thing is like, even though I didn't like skateboarding, I loved watching skateboarders wipe out.
Sure. Well, so this goes back to another thing though that I think you also enjoy, as I like watching someone when they are the best at it, like at like whatever it is. Right. There's just something that is fantastic to see when somebody performing at like beyond peak performance, or like doing things that everybody thought like weren't possible, like Simone Biles. Just like, I don't even care about gymnastics, but it's impossible not to pay attention to somebody who hasn't lost in 9 years.
Yeah, like her floor routine, like video.
That she invented a trick too. Like she has a trick name.
She has multiple tricks.
Yeah.
That she like invents and nobody else can ever do again. And they're just like named after her.
Yeah, there's like the bile is a trick that like, it's just
there was a 12-year-old kid that did at the X Games on whatever they call the half pipe ramp. He did like a 1080 with Tony Hawk in attendance, and like won.
He didn't win. He didn't win. Tony Hawk was actually Tony Hawk did a video.
I thought the 12-year-old won.
The 1080 didn't win. It was someone else did something else. He got second. That's what Tony Hawk said. He said this. Tony Hawk was recording a video. This was the same night I became an expert on Rodney Mullen. I watched a bunch of Tony Hawk shit. Because Tony, it all started with the do a kickflip. Like it started with Tony Hawk being mistaken for Tony Hawk tweets.
Yeah.
Like
which is the best.
Which is like one of the greatest internet. I don't even care if he's like joking about it. Like, but like it's one of the greatest like internet things ever. So it's just like Tony Hawk being mistaken for Tony Hawk. If you want like a good, just if you need to pick me up, your mental health is like you've had a rough day at work or something and you just need to laugh, read these tweets. Just go Google search them, you'll find them. I think it's actually an Instagram, but they're all like super clipped together. And that's how it all started. And I started watching Tony Hawk stuff, and then that made me so, you know, I kind of go back a little bit to get caught up on the current things. And then my journey with music is the exact same way. Like, I know what I liked when I was growing up, and then I'm like, well, what did they all like? And then I just started going back in time, and you get to a point where if you go back in time far enough, then you like jump forward to like other influences. So like finding out that like, you know, Run DMC and like, you know, Aerosmith did a song together, right? That's an easy bridge. But finding out that like Run DMC had like has one of the same influences as Pink Floyd in Junior Kimbrough and Muddy Waters and shit, like you're like, oh, well now I got to go listen to all, like this whole other genre opens up to me. Like this is just how my brain works. And I did this with skateboarding, so then I ended up on running Mullen. But what it was is like the Tony Hawk video, he was talking about, like in the video he was teaching you vert. And in the video, he says, like, nobody's done a 1080 yet. And then there was actually, like, a little clip after the credits or whatever. He says, this kid's practicing the 1080. I think he's nailed it, and he's going to try it at the X Games. And so Tony Hawk was, like did a sort of a follow-up video because he nails it. And he's just, like, this... And he didn't win. I believe he got second. You can fact-check me, but that's my memory of that. Like, I'm pretty certain Tony Hawk was like, and dude got second. This is bullshit. The cool thing about skaters in the 90s was that they weren't too cool for Warhammer. Some of our best players in high school were skater bros. And that's the thing, is like cross-pollinating with passion, I think is really where it's at. Like when you don't yuck other people's yum and you give them the time of day. You don't have to, right? Like if you just start bombarding me with stuff and I'm not in the mood, like I kind of have to be curious about it. But once I am, you know, I want to see the best people or the most passionate people. Like we have this in our Discord, we have a sumo chat because Frank loves sumo, and so just once every few months, sumo's up, and like watching sumo with Frank is just like his happiness.
Yeah,
brings me happiness. You know, there's that the quote. The greatest bad guy speech of all time is obviously Raul Julia's Bison speech. The second greatest bad guy speech of all time is in the Devil's Advocate with Pacino, and you know, so Keanu Reeves is kind of slowly descending into all like the sins and losing his wife and relationship and screwing everything up, and you know, Keanu confronts Pacino at the end of the movie, and he basically starts blaming the devil for everything he's done, and the devil says, "No, I didn't actually do any of that stuff. You did that stuff. I was just warming my hands by your fire." Like, and that's the line, is I was just warming my hands by your fire. I'm kind of like that. Like, I'm kind of like Pacino in that scene. I like warming my hands by other people's fire. And by fire, I mean passion. Not like, you know, their body or anything weird like that. Right, you can't browbeat someone into yumming your yum.
watch me.
Let's let Brendan talk for 15 minutes about something.
Yeah. No, I mean, the 90s skater culture was, like, sort of developing. Like, it wasn't, you know, at that period in time, like, you think about when something's emerging, you tend to be a little insecure about it, right? You got to be protective of the thing, which is why the Vans poser thing probably happened, right? They have to be, you're insular. I think with Warhammer, I think we're on the cusp of it being mainstream. It's niche within tabletop gaming, which is mainstream thanks to like Roll20 and Critical Role and, you know, some other stuff, really Stranger Things really mainstreaming Dungeons and Dragons specifically. And then once you mainstream Dungeons and Dragons, then people come over, play Dungeons and Dragons, and they're like, oh, what other things are like Dungeons and Dragons? It's only a matter of time before they land on Warhammer. And 40K is a mega IP. You know, Games Workshop is an $85 billion company. They're really good at convincing everyone that they're a small company. They're not. They're $86 billion company. Half of it's on their digital IP. Like, full on half comes from video games like Dawn of War and stuff like that. I hope that trash mobile game is losing money though. Not because I don't want the game to be good and I'm into yucking people's yum, but because the commercials infuriate me
Oh, so annoying.
every day. It's becoming the Raid Shadow Legends where I could never know, you could have the best game on the planet, but your commercials are so obnoxious I will never know. But yeah, so even if you go with their like a $42 billion gaming company in tabletop gaming doing minis, like niche, like I don't know if I can like explain to people how dominant that is. You know, like they could buy Hasbro, like the wing of Hasbro that they want, Wizards, right? They could theoretically buy Wizards. And vice versa, because they both have tons of money. Hasbro itself has tons. My problem with 40K is my hatred of drilling out gun barrels. But yeah, I think there's a difference between people who are just getting into like something that they're interested in, and then once you that insecurity recedes, then you get to have sort of like an honest enjoyment of it. Just paint a black dot.
That's the secret.
Not gonna lie, the live action Rage commercials were hilarious. Made me want a Raid sitcom. Oh, where like they're getting like they're like talking to like a psychiatrist or something. Wasn't that one of them?
That would be so much better than the game, though. Like
The sitcom.
I would be probably more willing to watch that, and would still never absolutely touch the game at all. But I would probably watch that out of like irony.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing, is it's amazing how quickly irony turns into legitimate enjoyment. Like, look at what happened. Like, that's how brony culture like occurred at all. Speaking of just passion stuff, just a bunch of people heard that like a My Little Pony cartoon was coming out and on 4chan, and they're like, let's watch it and make fun of it. And then they're like, they fell in love with it, and that's how bronies just occurred. Is like setting out, like, be careful, right? Oh man. But so this now that we've gotten the first hour out the way, go ahead. Yeah, therapy and the training session one, and the relationship problems because of the hot champions. It's classic storylines. Well, I mean, they're really going after their target audience, obviously. You know, like there's a reason they have the hot ladies, right? But they want to get teenage
what is this?
kids. Raid Shadow Legends?
Yeah, I must have missed this entirely at some point in time.
Do you go on
You're
YouTube
right.
Do you watch YouTube?
at all?
Yeah.
Surprisingly, no, I really don't. Other than the occasional RantCast and the occasional Warhammer Weekly, I'm not a YouTuber.
And I'm not monetized yet, so you wouldn't necessarily see commercials on my stuff. And
I'll ask my son, because he's watching YouTube all the time. So I'll be like,
He'll know.
okay,
Landon will know. Your boy will
All right.
know.
all right.
Yeah. So tonight, chat gang, I just wish to remind you, it's the musical episode. So if anyone wants to break into song, cool. If you want to gank the chat, someone wants to keep an eye on Discord here. We're going to be using the Arcane Sanctuary. Oh, Hotspur's in there. I don't know if this is on purpose.
Yes.
He may be going for a game.
I think it's Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl. Okay, so we'll go ahead and use the Den of Evil. Will be our green room. If you want, we're going to be doing a call-in show. So you can, if you hop into the Den of Evil, here, I'll go ahead and create an invite here that'll last for the evening, 8 hours or so. If you want to, you can hop in the Den of Evil, and you can ask any of us questions, like a call-in show. If you make them about Warhammer, obviously we'll answer your Warhammer questions. But tonight's theme is passion. It's all about like living passionately, loving your hobbies, like just not yucking people's yum. It's okay to be passive with other people's yum. Like there are things I just don't get. I'm a little bit more on board with Zinch, to go back to my anecdote at the beginning of the night. I'm a little bit more on board with with Zinch now, but they're just I guess gnomes in Dungeons and Dragons. I don't get the passion for gnomes. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, gnomes and halflings. It's not there.
Oh wow.
I
I'm
know.
gonna have to. I'll have to have my brother talk to you about gnomes. He has not played anything except for maybe once. He's played a non-gnome
Yeah.
in the last
Yeah,
decade.
I was trying to think of something traditionally nerdy that I'm just like, yeah, I don't get it. Like gnomes in World of Warcraft, same thing where like people are like, yeah, but it's a gnome. Like I get if you're playing because it's OP, but the people who just like love gnomes, and this, nothing against them, but that's one of those things where like it hasn't clicked for me. Maybe one day, like someone will be passionate enough to tell me why gnomes are great.
Well, we'll roll up new gnomes in WoW, and we'll go hang out in the Deep Run tram for like an hour, and we'll learn.
I'm not giving Blizzard any more of my money. I've been not giving Blizzard my money since before it was cool to not give Blizzard my money. The last game I paid for was Wrath of the Lich King for Blizzard. They didn't get a red cent for me in Hearthstone when I tried it out and promptly dropped it because I despised it. And they didn't get money for me for vanilla because my buddy wanted me to play with him. And yeah, I guess I play Overwatch every now and then when they have the Halloween event because it's awesome. But no ethical consumption under capitalism, right? Like it's hard to draw a line and be The Good Place has this conversation way better than I ever will. So just go watch The Good Place, and then when you're done watching that, I'm going to go, see, that's what I'm talking about moral relativity and the difficulties and nuances of trying to be a good person despite an oppressive system all around you and not having all the information.
Just don't eat Frito-Lay products right now.
Why? What did Frito-Lay do? Oh, no.
I can't even get into this.
Oh, no.
Go Google it later.
Oh.
It is absolutely atrocious how many hours they are making their employees work.
Like
it's pretty terrible.
I can only fight so many battles, and this, I don't want to soapbox on people. This is where like my boycotts, like apart from it coming up occasionally in like my random live streams, about stuff where I'm like, yeah, I don't play Blizzard games. One time in a tweet exchange with Domus, Bryce, and Relian, where they were all playing Diablo 3, and I'm like, I don't really play Blizzard games anymore. Like I have my weaknesses. I will play the hell out of Diablo 2, but it's already bought and paid for. And again, I didn't buy it. Someone got it for me as a gift. Ironically, the same person who got me Overwatch and the other Blizzard games I haven't bought for. He's an enabler. But
don't know anything about that.
But
every passion also needs enablers. So I mean,
it's true. It's true. Or I won't play Kruleboyz, right? Like I'm not gonna play Kruleboyz, but I'm gonna buy the Vulture. And like if I happen upon like a box of like the if I go to like a Warhammer tournament and I win a box of like Battleline or something like that, and I already have the Vulture and I haven't kit bashed it yet, that enablement will I will have self-enabled at that point. Like I'm like, nah, I'm happy with my armies as they are.
Or am I?
And the thing is like, I mean, that goes back to the whole like, I'm reading, just kind of skimming chat gang here. Like the whole like there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. The whole like you can boycott literally every company for something, right? Like there's virtually no true. There's a few, I guess, like decent like mom and pop stuff that ain't done nobody wrong before, but there's just once they get to a certain size, it's virtually impossible for them to not have something questionable or horrible in their business practices. So I think it becomes there about like overt things and like the stuff that you can't overlook when your attention's called to it. Like it's complicated, and I don't judge any people for consuming those products or anything like that. Like even though I was talking off stream, I had like a crisis of conscience about retweeting Giannis buying 50 chicken nuggets. Like I'm wearing my Bucks 50 season shirt because Giannis hung 50 on the Suns and they won their first title in 50 years, and Giannis Antetokounmpo ordered 50 chicken nuggets from Chik-Fil-A.
It wasn't chicken nuggets. It was chicken minis, which is insane. That's a ludicrous amount of miniature chicken sandwiches to order. But, like, I get that he's 7 feet tall and a professional basketball player and runs on a different engine, but that is so much biscuit.
How much?
Roughly.
How much does that cost? What is the?
It doesn't matter.
No,
Like,
I'm interested because I want to do the Giannis chicken mini challenge at some point.
you want to just do that this weekend? Like you and I'll drive over there. We'll both order a set
50.
and
Not 49, not 51, 50. And I need lemonade, half lemonade, half Sprite.
No ice.
No ice.
No ice.
No ice.
Oh my god.
Get that out of here.
When he made that order, and for those of you who aren't familiar, my favorite sports ball team in the entire universe won their first championship in 50 years. If you follow me on Twitter, it's impossible not to know this because I have not been I have not been doing anything but like retweeting sports ball memes. Yeah.
it's been a long 3 days.
The best. Oh man, I've had basically, barring like one funeral, like I've had basically the best week, like full wall to wall week I've had in a very, very long time. Usually my window of goodness is like a couple days, and then like my loop starts all over again, or just neutrality, right? But like just rattling off a week of just greatness, from the Ren Fair with my family to like spending one night with my daughter, just like snuggling in on the couch watching Henry Danger is like her favorite thing in the world right now. Watching Henry Danger, which is kind of like the kid. You know how Archer is like a spy cartoon, but it's not really about being a spy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's about like everything else, and like sometimes there's spy backdrop. Henry Danger is like a kids appropriate show that's about a superhero sidekick that's about literally anything but the superhero aspect of it. It's actually pretty solid. Like I understand why she likes it. So yeah, from that to hearing that my bro totally assassinated people that were headhunting him with giants and brings home a trophy, the first hardware of the season for Soulblight Gravelords, just and then like it was all sort of like capped with this Bucks like historic win. Like it wasn't just like they won. The way they won was, if I wrote it as a story, it would be rejected by my editor for being too on the nose. Like suddenly Giannis hits 17 of 19 free throws after it at the beginning of the whole playoff run, it becoming an entire thing where the whole league's throwing shade at him and counting him down for his free throws. Like, that's the kind of conflict you bracket in a story. Like, the hero of our story can't make 3 free throws and everyone gives him shit for it, but then when it matters, he makes all his free throws. Do you hear how dumb that would, like, how, like, on the nose and obvious that would be as a plot point in a story? Like, from the, like, Kill Bill, like, plot line of PJ Tucker just one by one knocking off every one of his former starting lineup from the Rockets? like
all of whom asked out or demanded a trade out in like insane and unreasonable ways, and he was the last man standing.
No, Chris Paul did not ask for the trade.
I don't know about that.
He did not ask to be traded to the Thunder.
He didn't pick where he ended up going, but him and James Harden did not want to play together anymore.
Was definitely true, but my understanding is James Harden said, you guys have to get rid of Chris Paul. And they went, okay, we'll get rid of Chris Paul.
See, and that's where the first talk of Chris Paul going to the Lakers came in, right? That was because they thought they were going to ship CP3 to the Lakers to be primed for LeBron to receive him.
So is this where we pull off the mask?
I think we can pull off the mask.
Episode 100's a basketball
show.
Listeners, viewers.
We got a basketball
show.
Oh no, that's Chris Tucker's.
And there's the music.
Chris Tucker's song in Space Jam, on the first Space Jam OST. He's got a song called "Basketball Jones" with Barry White.
Yeah.
Basketball Jones, got a basketball Jones up, baby. Ooh. And then Barry White's like, basketball. Oh, get a Jones. Like it's fucking... Fucking so. That was my falsetto, everyone. You're welcome. It is a musical episode. Boom. Not a liar.
Just
Or-
check that box.
Welcome.
Yeah. Papa's a buzz for me. So, chat gang, you keep being the show within the show. I'll check back in with all this wonderful stuff. Feel free to ask questions if you want to hop in the Den of Evil on Discord for any of your questions. But now it is time to talk basketball. So Giannis Antetokounmpo is
Finals MVP, national basketball champion.
like
Superman. Shaq said that he's better than he ever was, which is
Yeah.
not something Shaq is willing to say lightly. If
ego.
you know anything about Shaq has a huge ego and hates it when anybody tries to say that they are better than him or that Shaq wasn't terrible or didn't earn anything. And Shaq went on record and was like, no, Giannis is better than I ever was.
Right.
He is Superman.
The thing
Yeah.
about Shaq was when he would get down into the low post and set his feet, literally unstoppable. But he could never move and crash into the lane and go around people in the way that we're seeing Giannis do. Like,
Giannis just like Tasmanian devils around and then just like, and balls in the hoop. Like, you can't stop it.
his
Well,
body control is sickening.
Well,
It's like,
They talk about like what you're supposed to do to guard him, and it was the Boston coach, right, who designed the wall, and then the whole league started using it.
Yeah.
I can't remember the Boston coach's name. He's a kid, like a paragon. He looks like a child.
Brad Stevens.
That's-
He's no longer the coach. He's now the head of basketball operations and like
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
Fine.
no, but it was Brad Stevens who like sort of engineered the wall in that playoff series a few years back, and Giannis has just never stopped seeing it since. But even with the wall now that they've built, like walls don't work. Building walls is stupid because Giannis will just dunk over the wall or go around the wall. Walls are dumb. See, some of you didn't catch that subtle political satire.
The only
that I
thing you can
just-
do for Giannis is you just have to make it as difficult as possible
Yeah,
and hope that everybody else on the team
stops playing the game. Of
stops playing basketball.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to hope that you make Giannis work as hard as you can possibly make him work.
Mhm.
And then just hope the other team doesn't play well enough is the only way that you can beat the Bucks.
And pretty much. And that's the thing is, like, you talked about, like, when you see someone that's the best at something. For me, that's, like, I always had a cursory interest in basketball because if you were a kid in the 80s and 90s and you saw Michael Jordan, you couldn't help. Like Michael Jordan, you couldn't help but not be interested in basketball. From Space Jam to the Gotta Be Like Mike ad campaigns, I've always played video games and tabletop gaming. So, like, was it Matt? Was it Larry versus Jordan or whatever was the NES game? Like, NBA Jam was just, I mean, because NBA Jam is a very video gamey sports game. Like, I miss video gamey sports games personally. By the way, they're all getting like hyper realistic now, which is like, you know, fun and it's a different way. But it's because they're all becoming RPGs now. Because they're like hyper realistic RPGs with roster management and numbers and shit. I'm like, this isn't what I said. I just want to razzle dazzle people and hear the guy say boom shakalaka. Like,
I want to heat it up.
I want to heat it up. I want to like foul people, just like throwing them across the court. Like NBA Hang Time, a lesser played N64 game, was like the pinnacle of NBA Jam because you got to also build your own player. And the secret was height cost you character build points. So you made your character super tiny, but you maxed out power, speed, and dunk. So you're just you're just min-maxing. I made a character actually named Basketball Jones, whose head was a basketball. And look at that callback. Professional. 100 episodes of RantCast. Fucking professional callback. That's how good I am.
So while we're talking about basketball and video games, I'd just like to toss one out. Devin Booker won the NBA 2K challenge that they did under quarantine.
You're right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I wonder if I could beat Devin Booker at 2K.
NBA Street was pretty great, and I actually loved NBA Street, and then they had a series of NBA Street where was that NBA Street 2 where you're like they had like a mini town in it, and you'd like go around the town dribbling the basketball and like go shop and buy your jersey and stuff like that, and then you like ball on people and you bounce the ball off their head and build up your like heat gauge so that you could do the sick dunk and shatter the glass. That game was fucking awesome. Like
one of my favorite basketball video games was for the original, the NES, Bill Lambier's Combat Basketball. It was like
yes,
you were on the court. Literally, it was like fighting on the basketball court.
Amazing.
It was amazing. After what were they? The Nasty Boys, the Pistons back in the 80s. Like
The Bad Boys.
Lambier was just the meanest dude. Like
Mutant League
he
Hockey,
had-
Mutant League Football, both great shouts. Yeah,
those were great.
yeah. I mean, I want that back. Like as far as, but like again, like if you're in the '90s, like sports were weaponized. If you actually even hear, what's that?
Yeah. I was gonna say yeah.
I mean, not that they're not now, but I mean the marketing on them for like getting a kid to like it. In terms of like Michael Jordan, this isn't like my hot take. This is a consensus opinion from sports journalists that for an athlete to be a like brand was unheard of until Michael Jordan.
Right.
I mean, now you have your Air Jordans, like everyone knows this now. But for an athlete to be that hadn't happened prior to that time. So if you're a kid in that time period and like you're already having like toys weaponized against you, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and He-Man, they make a cartoon that's just a 30-minute commercial. Like they're doing that with the athletes. They had that like the Wayne Gretzky, Bo Jackson, Michael Jordan cartoon.
Cartoon, yeah.
You remember that?
Oh, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah.
Wayne Gretzky was like they had the cartoon where it was like a two-parter cartoon, right? And yeah, like I mean, you're just as a kid, you're this onslaught, and so as a kid, I got into basketball as much as like any other kid who's just like everything's weaponized. But then I became an angsty teenager, and the click stuff started to happen, and I was very firmly. I'd been a nerd growing up, but because I was the kid who always moved around, I was the abused kid cliche from the broken home, so I had the edge to me. I gravitated towards like the sort of punk goth kid clique, and trying to be cool. And even though like I look back on goths, I'm like, oh, they're so nerdy. Like you're just one foam sword shy of a Ren Fair nerd. Like. Ironically, look, capes are sweet. I can't help it that capes are sweet and black is the coolest color. All right, like it's not my fault. But yeah, like Pro Stars was the cartoon. Oh, so good. Yeah, Bo Jackson, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan.
Well, because
then,
Jordan did what O.J. Simpson tried to do.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
like O.J. tried to
with Lethal Weapon or whatever it was, right? Like
yeah.
I mean, and it wasn't super uncommon for athletes to try to jump into, like, acting or something else. It's just it hadn't happened. It hadn't happened like that. It helps
not to close to that level,
right?
Like, I mean, what anyone had done before Jordan was unparalleled to how Jordan kind of became
like
a
entity. To like,
yeah. I mean, he's recording with like music videos with the king of pop at the time, Michael Jackson, right? Like that music video where Michael Jackson's teaching him to dance and he's teaching Michael Jackson how to play ball, right? Like that, like just it was just unprecedented. And so like I got into like I was in North Carolina, for much of my youth, which is where he played basketball. So like you can't help it. I'm still a Tar Heels fan to this day. I know. They're my second team. I'm a homer, so I like all my Wisconsin sports teams, but they're still my second. They're my second favorite team. I keep an eye on the Carolina Panthers because they were an expansion team when I was a kid, and we were literally homeless. And the Carolina Panthers, because they were the expansion team, like they gave like a bunch of blankets and shit, and like I had a Carolina Panthers starter jacket. They just gave a bunch of shit to like the homeless shelters and stuff. So like I just had a bunch of like Carolina Panthers swag, and my mom was actually like didn't want me to have it, but I'm a kid and I just want a starter jacket. I don't care what it. I just know that everyone wears the starter jackets, and because my mom was very firmly a Green Bay Packers fan, she introduced me when we would go to a new school and shit. She'd be like, hey, "This is Andrew, wear cheeseheads." I had no idea what the fuck a cheesehead was. I'm like 10 or 7. I have no idea what. So then when I would go to like the next school, I'd be like, my name's Andrew. I'm a cheesehead from Winona, Minnesota. And they're just like, where's that? And I'm like, I don't know. Is that it? They're like, is that in Wyoming? I'm like, yeah, I'm from Wyoming, Minnesota. Freaking no, man. Like, um, and so, but anyway, like I angsty teenager, and I started distance myself from sports because you gotta choose. I chose to be cool, even though I wasn't, and I hid all my nerdery about like my friends. I dated a girl for 2 years. She didn't know I owned a video game console in high school. She didn't know I owned a video game console, and on the weekends when I wasn't hanging out with her, I was playing Vampire the Masquerade or Rifts. Like, or
talk about a time in high school, like keeping gaming for me at least. Like gaming was something I did on the weekends with my friends, right? Because we were kind of like cool kids, or whatever. Like varsity sports, like whatever. And then you're sitting there in the cafeteria, and I distinctly remember me and two of my very dear friends sitting there, and we're hearing the nerds, if you will, next to us talk about their Magic the Gathering decks. And we're like just kind of looking at each other like we know what they're talking about.
You gotta contain it, yeah.
Absolutely. We can't like turn around and go, oh, that's really cool. I play this deck too, or that deck too.
You can't.
Like it was just this super weird time, like of. And now it's like, I don't care if 100,000 people know that I think Magic the Gathering is cool and I play D&D and AOS, and like coming into adulthood, figuring out like that I could be comfortable
being all that
in talking about whatever back to the passion thing, not having to hide it from somebody else's expectations or thoughts, or not wanting to get picked on by like saying something. It was just a weird time. Like,
well, I was again, I say abused kid cliche as a shorthand for the fact that I got into a shit ton of fights, and so like I got a reputation. I've got to like don't fuck with Andrew. If they find out, like, they don't fuck with Creature, because that was one of the things they called me. Or don't fuck with Creature was like the big nickname they teased me with, and because he was a creature of darkness. Fucking assholes. God, high school sucked. So I just, like, and so what do? You beat the shit out of someone so they shut the fuck up. Like, that's what I was taught in my home environment. Like, that, so I get into fights, and so I had to be cool. I wasn't, and I had a very similar experience where I was walking through, this was Green Bay West, high school 3 at that time. Green Bay West, one of the guys I literally played, like I played, there was our football center at the school, and just the nerd you would expect, stereotypical, like bespectacled, like wears like the rolled up cuff shirt, tucked into his pants with a belt and khakis, like nerd. We played Vampire on the weekends together at school. We were strangers.
Yeah.
Like total strangers.
Yeah.
Like you didn't talk. You like, you might, if like the other kind of cool people around, you might like do one of those, but like if the fight started happening, I know that I might be fighting, like I might, like the center dude, Dave was his name, like I might like not hit him, but we're still going to be pushing each other and like protecting our crews and stuff like that. Like it was, that's how it was. And then like on the weekend, we'd try not to hold a grudge against each other, and I was usually GMing, so I didn't have to hold a grudge.
Punches were pulled then.
See, I just rejected all of that in high school and didn't care.
Crazy.
At all.
Insanity to me.
Didn't care at all. Well, so I played varsity sports, I remember, and I was in one of my comm class or whatever, and there were these 2 guys who I ended up becoming good friends with. They were not doing any of the stuff that they were supposed to be doing in the library while we're supposed to be doing research for a project, and instead they were looking up all their stuff for their Star Wars RPG game that they were getting ready to play that weekend. And it was like, wait,
it better be D6 Star Wars, because that game was dope. What are you guys
talking about? You guys talking about Star Wars? And then that's how I ended up getting invited to their Star Wars RPG game for the rest of high school that we're all together. Good time.
Brendan, you were sports too. You were an athlete. Did you was your experience like you had to partition off nerdery, or did nerdery come later?
Nah, absolutely not. I was in this really sweet spot where um, I was a varsity sport athlete like the rest of you.
See,
I
we,
was
we
on
would have we
the
would have been fighting, like, because that was I ended up in the other clique, and I would have had to fight the sports guys because the jocks hated
oh
the boots. Like that was
yeah,
that
so
was the whole thing. Is like we just didn't get along.
there would have been no fighting me. Um, so I was on the varsity gymnastics team for my sophomore year of high school. Like I was on the varsity soccer team as a freshman. I was a goalkeeper at 5'8", so figure that one out. Uh, and
It's about wanting to get at it though. Like goalkeeping is it's in the heart.
I played it like a middle linebacker. It was the
Kind of like Giannis taking out Mike Dunleavy Jr. on the sidelines. You just ran across and
yeah,
shoulder into him, just crumpled him.
and my father is also 5'8", and he was the backup goalkeeper at a Division I in college, because he was the starting sweeper and he played semi-professionally. So like he taught me how to play the position at that height, and he's like, look, you got to scare the shit out of these guys. Like he's like, they're gonna kill you if they get in close. I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense from an angle's perspective. He goes, so make them shoot from 30 feet out. He goes, they'll stop all of them. It's high school. uh, and so had that. But at the same time, for those of you who somehow don't know, I ended up getting my engineering degree from Purdue University, which at the time was the #2 undergraduate engineering program in the country, and I had scholarship money there. So the nerdery group was also my people because I was in class with them, and we'd hang out and we'd do this. So like I had 1 foot over here and 1 foot over here. It's like, look, if you wanted to make fun of me because I'm hanging out with the nerds, like, okay, well you got to fight me, and you're not going to be able to do that. And if you're gonna try and outmuscle me, man, I'm smarter than you. Like
No, it's crazy. Like I just I think often because I have 2 kids, and the paradigm shift has happened, right? Like with the MCU especially, like it's like the kids you see in nerd shit where I hid my comic books, like in my room were hidden because my girlfriend might come over, like, or one of my friends, like they were hidden in my fucking closet, like like I almost can't fathom like the the paradigm shift. Like are jocks bullied now, or are they just like big fans of like like Superman and like the lame heroes?
I don't know. I feel like people are just allowed to, for the most part, be who they are.
I hope
I don't
so.
know. It's been a while
I
since
hope
I've
so.
been a teenager.
Yeah, I don't know. It's got to be rough. It's got to be rough in a different way, right? Like everything you do is immortalized on the internet now. Like,
oh, couldn't imagine.
yeah, 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 yeah. Like that's the thing about like the fights I lost. There's not a YouTube you can go look at me getting my ass beat, just for eternity. Like,
Yeah.
I took my licks and I got to like, think about it and get through it and move on to the next. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
We're not going to find you on World Star.
I gotta say real quick, there's this ongoing like EverQuest.
Yeah, I saw the
discussion.
troll Shadow Knights blast, and I'm like, I didn't want to cut anyone off.
I just love talk about passion. Like EQ was a game where it was probably one of my first exposures into like an MMO, right?
Mine too.
And I remember my dad played way more than my brother or I. My dad got totally absorbed into it to the point where he had like binders of all of the zone maps and like would print out stuff and and my brother and I would just be like, this is crazy. We can't get on the damn computer. His dad is farming a drop and he's got to wait 6 hours for this thing to pop up so he can try to get it. We want to play. Get off the damn computer, Dad.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I remember of EverQuest is not being able to play enough time.
Yeah. That's funny. Like, you see, I played EverQuest a little bit, but like I've always kind of been a solitary video gamer. I've talked about this on stream like several times, especially during my like sort of video game streams. Like I'm a very solitary video game streamer. For me, video games sit in the place where I would go over to my friend Terry's house, and like he'd have like one controller for, he'd have a one-player game on the NES or something like that, or I had literally one controller for my Sega Genesis, because we got it from a pawn shop, or maybe it only came with one. I don't remember, but I know we got it from a pawn shop, and like for me, it was like we would trade the controller, like, and I just sit there and my friend, I'd be talking, or I'd just like hang out and be reading like a Rift's like world book or something like that while he's playing a video, because like on the weekends was like I was a nerd again, right? Like that's that the escapism, trying to escape like the family and the violence and all that stuff. So I usually go over to a friend's house, and for me it was always a solitary thing. So like I really I liked EverQuest because it was like Dungeons and Dragons, but like since I was more of a Rifts guy, all growing, like it was TMNT was like my gateway drug, and that was owned by Palladium Books. And then once you're hooked on Palladium Books' sort of like wackiness, you could just like dive into everything else. And when your friend's like, you want to play like a robot gunslinger, and I'm like, hell yeah, I do. It's just but yeah, so video games always were the solitary thing, so they developed for me as a solitary thing. So the game that got me was Diablo, particularly Diablo 2. I was obsessed with Battle.net. Like that was my fucking game. And when my sophomore and junior year in high school, when I was like peak Diablo, right? Like that was around the time we were passing out like burnt CDRs of fucking Deus Ex, Max Payne, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, like just like the glory days of stealing video games off the internet as a teenager and passing around the discs like contraband to all your friends. It was Diablo 2, man. And I was a necromancer, but my uncle, who I was living with at the time, he had an auto body shop, and so he actually had the early sort of high speed internet connection for like the credit card machine and shit. And so we ran a line to the house because the garage is over here, the house is over here, and so I had like high speed internet, so I'd play a Lagromancer, and I would go in and duel people, and just a million skeletons, put a Curse of Iron Maiden on them, and they couldn't like click me because they would lag out and they'd fucking kill themselves. And I just, so good. Oh man, yeah, asshole death player from day one, man.
It's amazing.
Fucking Lagromancer. Yeah, so good. Man, I love. See, Diablo 2 is my weakness. Like it's just this. It's my desert island game. I've got all kinds of opinions on Blizzard, but if I were on a desert, not that it's my favorite game, but if I were trapped in a desert island with the peripherals and the energy, blah blah blah, and I get one game, Diablo 2. If hopefully you're kind enough to give me the LOD, the Lord of Destruction, DLC with it, or expansion pack. Gross. I sound like a millennial. Calling it DLC.
DLC,
yeah. With the expansion.
Shame on you.
Yeah, so I can do some gems and do some Piddleskin runs and shit, yo. But like, Archie 3, so good. Archie 3, I played through the Archie 3 plotline. We did the the mechanoids. My buddy Sam, it's on hiatus right now because everything in my life is. My buddy Sam's been running us through what we call like time skip riffs. And as adults who like we've homebrewed a bunch of the rules and we've like made this like funky, our adult version of riffs, I guess. We've been playing through every major plot arc. So like we did the Archie 3, we're gonna go through Juicer Uprisings, Coalition War Campaign. Like we're gonna go through all like the major plot outlines, and then we're gonna do the Riffs Africa later on in the setting because they revamped the book later on. And so we'll do Riffs Africa later when the Four Horsemen do Apocalypse show up. Fucking what a great game! I miss Riffs, I truly do. Froglock, yeah. Shoutouts to Froglock Paladins.
I want Tristan to come hop in here and start asking us questions. I feel like Tim King Tristan is primed and ready for the.
Is he ready for the call-in? The call-in. All right. Has he been?
I mean, I would think he is. I'm not. He's not there. I'm trying to encourage him to come into the Discord.
Yeah, come into the Discord.
I think we need to debate more basketball talk. So what's a good basketball topic we can talk about here?
Well-
I mean, we could just start talking about Game 6.
Well, like Giannis. No.
Moments of Game 6.
Do we want to go to Game 6? Because first I got to talk about the nasty block. Like,
I think we got to talk about the Heat series first.
I don't want to warm up to this. I just want to go hard into the paint.
The Bucks just walked in and were like, "We hate you for what you did to us in the bubble.
Yeah.
Go home."
yeah,
That is what happened for the Heat series. They're like, "We don't forgive you. Goodbye."
No,
Tristan popped in and then left.
No, we're in the lock channel. He actually wanted to be in Blood Bowl. It looked like. No, the Heat series. That was the narrative of the Heat series. Is they were like, the bubble wasn't real, and we'll show you how, and then they destroyed them. But the Nets was the like
there's no offense, Travis. The Nets series, I was way more stressed out about throughout the entirety of it than.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was 7 games.
Well, it's not that. It's like there was this feeling that like the Nets game should have been the finals, and I have a take that's expanding on this with the Phoenix Suns. But there's a reason that both the teams we went down, 0-2 against were the stressful series. But like the Nets was like, okay, so we got like a wounded Nets team, right? But like Kyrie went out in the series, and Harden was gimped, but Harden's a pansy anyway, so I didn't expect him to really like win anyway. Like he's just taking points off of KD, having historic games. Right.
It's a part of basketball. Like I don't want to hear the whole like, oh, well, they were only injured, so like it doesn't count or like whatever.
You
like,
know
get
what?
out of here.
You know what happened when Giannis's knee bent 45 degrees the wrong way or the wrong way?
Yeah, he transferred it to Saric.
he said, I will not be injured. Harden should have just done what Giannis did and not get injured and decided to not be injured. Like a real sports athlete.
See, and that's the thing with the James Harden criticism.
Now, by the way, while we're talking injuries, Tristan's ready to come in and just start.
Is he?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Sports Talk, RantCast, episode 100.
Welcome,
Tristan.
caller. You're live on AOS RantCast, episode 100, the musical, allegedly.
Allegedly. Well. It's been a while.
It has been.
Since I said I'm sorry.
Nice.
That's all we need. We got music.
Yeah,
we got
we got music.
What's
nice.
Do-do-do.
That Prince Edward Island internet. Woo.
Do-do-do.
You just gonna sing to us? You're gonna serenade us?
No, it's currently 11:30 at night.
11:30.
And I'm standing on my back porch.
How's the weather? I know this is a really lame question, but I'm genuinely curious. With Canada being on fire, what it's like where you... I'm sorry, what was that?
Well, actually, I'm in... Whoa, that's a bunch... I'm sorry, I just got distracted by some sexy slugs.
There you go.
It's actually been a really rough summer in a different way. It's super cold here. Like, we're the one spot in Canada where it's just been, like, raining and wet and gross. But that's not really the point. The point is, the Bucks are the world champs this year. What's up?
Oh, so good!
Right.
Fuck with you, Buck.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
It does make the Chris Paul State Farm commercial with the deer in his garage so much better now.
It's just unfortunate.
They were playing like right after. I think it was right after like the game, right after the game ended, or right after the commercial, like after the clock expired. They're gonna come back. The CP3 turned into cardboard was the first commercial that played, and I'm like, the universe has a sense of just a sense of humor.
Oh yeah.
Like
Friggin' perfect.
Oh, it was so good.
So good.
It was so good. Yeah. What was your favorite part of Game 6?
All right, so
Or
my
the
favorite
series
part
if you want to do a
Game 6
favorite
was
part of the
moment
series.
Whenever I'm just gonna go with Game 6 because that's what's still locked in my head.
All
My
right.
favorite part was actually the defense on the Spain pick and roll that Milwaukee did, but really that's just me being uber basketball nerd here.
What's the
Um,
Spain pick and roll?
But
Out of like for people who are
okay,
I mean-
so Spain pick and roll for the not so initiated is a stacked pick and roll that was made famous by the Spain national team. And let's see, what do we got here?
he's gonna use like the slugs.
Use visual aids. So we have the guy with the ball, then we have the guy setting the screen, and then we have a mint plant here setting the screen. And so let's just imagine. I don't want to touch the sexy slugs because
No, they're
having a time.
yeah.
Let's just imagine.
Oh man, come on, camera, don't fail me now.
This ottoman. This ottoman is now guarding the ball.
Okay.
And so this guy sets a screen here so that the guy with the ball can go this way. This other guy sets a screen on the guy that's guarding the water jug.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of hard to see.
No.
This isn't great visual
No,
representation.
this is perfect. This is
And
amazing.
And then that second, so this guy then has either a clear lane to the basket, depending on how this guy defends, or there's a wide open three, or there's a wide open dump pass to the mint plant.
Right.
The dump pass to the mint plant might be my favorite part.
It's the hardest action in the NBA.
Yeah, and the
It's
Bucks
actually
were
pretty sick. See a lot of sweet ass dunks to DeAndre Ayton.
right. And the Bucks were able to defend. I mean, they were talking all series about essentially they were calling it like
Bucks were, like historically great at it.
the double screen, quote unquote, the double screen, and always having to deal with the double screen, right?
Yeah.
Which is the Spain screen.
Stack, pick and roll.
Yeah.
So that was like my favorite part was just watching that every like 3 or 4 possessions because that's one of the Suns' favorite actions to runs.
Mhm.
And they're amazing at it. So it was just seeing the difference between like the start of game 2, midpoint of game 2, the start of game 3, and just how it continued.
Mhm.
But my favorite part of game 6 was whenever the very large jar-headed man absolutely took over the game. Whenever Lopez, the Bucks. Just
That Lopez
hammer
dunk,
dunking,
the two.
there's this huge cut in. Where just
Smash Mountain.
smash mountain, man. Smash.
Then he had kind of a runner too, like a
so good. And,
series or
he
two
had- I
before
think
that.
he had this weird little.
Yeah.
I think there was about a 45 seconds point whenever he scored 6 straight for the Bucks.
Yeah.
And I was like out of my chair, being like, yeah.
Well, that was the
let's
momentum
go."
shift right there. It was
Because,
right there in the.
Speaking of
Go ahead.
Star Wars,
Yeah, that was the momentum shift. It was the Drew Holiday 3, the Giannis wall, the buzzer beater 3, and then the Chris Middleton like just going full cash money on the mid range where he had that full like perfectly contested shot and he just drains it. It was kind of those 3 moments where like I'm like that was when my mind was like the Bucks will win this, and I got a text from my friend Keegan when Smash Mountain went off. He's like the Bucks will win. Like that was his moment, was like when Smash Mountain went off. So, you still there? Either he's doing a really great like Greek statue impression, or sorry.
Well,
Yeah, so that's a good question.
Are we adding Giannis to the Parthenon?
I hope so.
Like,
Absolutely. I mean, you have to.
What is the statue that gets built out in front of the stadium for Giannis when it's all said and
Super Saiyan
done?
Mean Mug.
The mean mug?
It's the Super Saiyan Mean Mug.
Oh yeah,
It's
like
the-
Super Saiyan Instinct Mean Mug. Yeah, where he's like
Yeah.
he's unlocked the final form of his Mean Mug, the Serene Mug.
I mean, or it becomes a digital installation with him Euro stepping like
Well,
through the lane
it
and
was
then
like-
spinning
like
around
Brooke Lopez Euro stepped like with that 7-foot kind of like traditional 7-foot body control dude Euro stepped. I was out of my I lost my mind. I'm like, what the fuck is Brooke Lopez? Like I just lost it. I just insane. Sorry.
Beautiful. So that was my answer for what my favorite portion was of Game 6. Did you guys already do that run?
We haven't done it yet ourselves. Do you have a question
Do
for
you
us?
Around the horn about the favorite points of Game 6? No, I just want to hear that.
You want to hear
I'm
that?
just gonna hang up and listen though.
Okay. All right.
wanna
Hang
hear
up and
that.
listen.
I'm gonna hang up and
Thanks for calling in, Tristan.
listen.
Uh,
Thanks.
All right, love you
one of
guys.
the OGs of chat gang. Love you, man. I'm gonna let other people go first. I don't want to take the good ones. Let's go with Brendan. I haven't heard from Brendan in a little while.
Yeah, so in terms of a singular play, I would say it was in the first quarter, the Middleton pick 6, where it was I believe it was a pass from Booker to Chris Paul, where Middleton makes this perfect like cornerback like read on the pass, steps right in front of it from like I'd say probably a good 10 feet away. He starts making the motion, and he just gets his hand out in front of it and goes and puts down a dunk because Middleton never dunks. Like it's not that he's like DJ Augustine where he can't. It's just his play is nowhere near the rim, and if he's dunking, something in our offense usually has gone pretty wrong. So seeing that as kind of one of the tone setter items, but in terms of like one of the like the larger item, right, where everyone like where we're talking about where you know that like this is going to be over, was I can't remember at what point in the third quarter, because Giannis had already like decided I'm just going to do this.
Yeah, he's at 20 points in the third. Like he's just decided to put up 20 points in the third, and just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he had like 2 defensive series where it was like block, dunk, and you just went, there is nothing anyone can do about that. Like, because like he's not one of these guys that goes out there and gets a zillion blocks every night. Like,
you just like one or two decisive ones, right? Like,
yeah, 1 point something a game kind of a thing. And he started early where it was just going to be a block party, and then he just decided that, oh, this defensive move works tonight, so we're just going to keep doing that.
Well, he
goaltending be damned.
Yeah, no, it was good. Like he got the goaltend off the one, but it's kind of like
there were like 2 or 3 goaltends. It was crazy.
Yeah,
like he was just getting up there.
But the thing is, like, I kind of don't mind because
No.
So if they were going to score, cool, then they do. But like he just got in that mindset where he's like, I'm going to deny points, and in the long run, it's kind of like with one of my great criticisms of the Bucks is like when the whistle is going against them, they don't like you got to play more intense. If you're going to get the whistle anyway, make it count, right? Like, and I don't like that they start to like back off, and that was like in game. Oh man, that was like game 1 of like the Brooklyn series. Like they had 0 fouls, and like they were down a bunch. And I'm like, why? Just start hitting people, make them count. Thanasis, the nasty's sitting over there with 6 fouls to give. Get him in there, like, and not like to say play like not to ankle twist, but just stop letting them walk all over you. You know,
yeah,
like,
we're not Goran Dragic over here. Like, let's, you know.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. But like, if they're gonna call you for making the foul count, like, hold your ground, stand, like, body up, like, that's what I like about Tuck. Like, he just does that. So checking, we've actually got like 3 massive Bucks homers here, right now, and then we have one like literal lifelong Suns fan. Like I've seen the Babby picture of you in a Suns garb. So asking you your favorite moment in the 6, I'm gonna let you can either go like heel announcer if you want, right? Like if you want to go like heel announcer in the WWE, if you want a favorite Suns moment, which would be nice to have more perspective, passion from someone else's angle, or if you have like a favorite Bucks moment or whatever. Yeah, I'll allow you 2 even if you need them.
So my first favorite moment is actually after the game, when Monty Williams went over to the Bucks locker room and congratulated him, because Monty is just, great sport, excellent coach. Like, nice. I'm so happy that he is in Phoenix coaching all of them, and I think that was probably my favorite moment from the game. Like, obviously, didn't want the Bucks to win, but I did want this series. Game 1 of this year is I wanted Bucks and the Suns.
Yes.
I didn't want the Nets. I didn't want the Lakers. I didn't want the Clippers. Yeah. So if there's anybody the Suns had to lose to, I would pick that.
Yeah.
I would have picked this. So So my favorite moment from the game was Monty Williams going over and congratulating the Bucks. I've never seen that before. Like, I've never seen a coach go over in the middle of the other team's press conference and congratulate them in the NBA Finals. So if that's happened before, kudos to whoever's done that before. But I really like that. I mean, my favorite Suns moment would have probably been, I think, Devin Booker in the second off of Drew getting a clutch after really fighting for it.
Mhm.
It's just they locked him down the rest of the game. I guess you can't have 3 40-point games in a row and lose all of them. So
Yeah.
But as for Buck's moment, I mean, definitely the mean mug from Giannis dunk. It was just like, saw that, it was like, well, what are you gonna do? Like the as I said before, like the Suns, I think had to make it as difficult for Giannis as they could, and I think they did a good job at making Giannis work for it. And then you just had to hope that the rest of the team would be a little off.
Yeah.
And I mean, Saric would have been great to have. I think that's the one thing that the Suns need for next year is they need another center. So that Ayton's not going to be there all the time, but I think Ayton's going to get better. Like, he's only getting better. He'll be at 20 and 12.
He's going to be really good.
He's going to be really good. He'll be 20 and 12 next year. Like, I do think that by the end of his career, he could be like a 30 and 20 guy, like Devin Booker said. Like, I mean, he got so much better from last year to this year, and I hope to see that moving forward.
This was Devin Booker's rookie year too, wasn't it?
No, it's not Devin Booker's rookie year. He was drafted 2015.
Oh, it was his first playoff appearance. That's what it was.
Yeah, so it was the only person who had been to the finals was Crowder. And of the Suns starting lineup, it was just CP3 and Crowder that had playoff experience. It was Booker's first playoffs, Bridges' first playoff, Cameron Payne, who came out of G League. He was playing in China last June, G League basketball. And so, I mean, Cameron Johnson, he's UNC, is his rookie year too. I think he's going to be great. Yeah. Absolutely great. I think he's the best 3-point shooter the Suns have right now. At least stats wise, he's most consistent, but yeah.
No, I mean, so touch on a couple things you said. With Monty Williams, I had like this moment where like the Bucks won and like I just kind of like crumpled, like I melted, like after like losing my voice, screaming and clapping and cheering in my house alone, because my kids were in bed. Like I let them watch the first half, like a responsible adult parent. I allowed them the first half. Notice how I'm not spinning that to be like, oh, I told them to go. No, I let them stay up for the first half. Like it was after 9 o'clock when they went to bed. That was a terrible parent. No, so so my kids, and then Molly's has this like, there's a house two houses down that her biological dad is helping renovate, and so she had to go paint that because like they have the move-in date is set for these folks to move into this place, and so she was doing that and like watching on her phone, and I'm just in the house alone, which I don't mind. Whatever, I'm a solitary individual anyway. So, but I'm just like clapping. There were moments like throughout the sort of like end of the thing where I was like tearing up, and I kind of hate that sports will do that. Not all sports, like if the Packers win another Super Bowl, it's not going to be the same like reaction. I'll be like, yay, yeah, woo, and I'll go shit talk a bunch of like Bears fans or something. No, I'm lying. I'll be shit talking Minnesota Vikings fans because they're the worst. Shots fired. Suck it, Minnesota. Yeah, no.
Scorched earth.
Just like they have all that like animosity of a team that's never won a Super Bowl, like that. It starts to like you either become like a meme, like where like I don't know that Buffalo's won a Super Bowl, right? No. Oh god. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Most.
Yeah.
They've lost them all.
Yeah. Okay. So like you either become Buffalo and you go crazy and it's hilarious, like you drop elbows through like burning tables and shit, like, or you become Minnesota fans where it's just like maximum salt and anger where they're actually cheering for people to get injured on your team. And like I'm not that kind of sports fan. I talk a lot of hilarious smack. provided like I know the person well enough, because like talking smack to strangers isn't as much fun. Weird. I feel like I have that backwards. like, but
dangerous game to play, talking smack to strangers. And
right. But yeah, like I had this moment where like I had like a couple moments that like I started to well up with tears, and Monty Williams' presser, like you could tell he had like cried, like you could tell and he wanted it so bad, and I was just like any other team, man. Like, if the Nets had beaten us, I'd have been the biggest Suns fan for those finals, like, in the world. Like, the story on both sides of this series was historic. Up and down. CP3 going after after his first chip, like, being, by all measure, like, a good dude to have on a team, right? Like,
He's the union president for the players.
Fuck yeah! Like, just by all measures, like, kind of a good dude. Doesn't have a bunch of controversy surrounding, like, just plays basketball good. Injuries have kind of like marred him. He was finally healthy, like, throughout a playoff series. Like, it's just, as healthy as you are playing a physical game the whole time, right? Like, it was just like, you've got Devin Booker vying for his first, and and Monty Williams, like, sort of personal life story, and which kind of mirrors like Greg Popovich's, where you're just like, you just want good stuff for the guy. He's been through enough. And so it's like, again, it's this great story. And then on the other side of it, you have like the Bucks, two of the smallest market teams in the NBA. Milwaukee's metro area is about 1 million. City itself clocks in at about a little over 500,000, like 50. What was it, like 520?
650.
600, yeah.
It was 600, yeah. So yeah, 600. But with the metro, with West Dallas, Dirty Dallas, Tosa, all that stuff, it's about 1 million. Phoenix itself is 1.5. Like, two of the smallest market teams in the entire NBA. I needed forever. Like, I'm gonna take this a little bit outside of basketball. Like, the metaphor that was at work here. The need for the underdog, for the small market to win, to prove that it's not just about trying to go after the biggest ad sponsors and kind of like nudging the refs to make sure that they know who the fucking stars are on the court, and all that shit, right? Like, all that conspiracy theory stuff that's in the back of our heads whenever we see like crappy calls go against our team, like needing to think like we can't attract players the way an LA can, because they want to live that LA lifestyle here. Like, who are you attracted to Milwaukee apart from exactly Giannis Antetokounmpo? Like, who the fuck, like, what, like, who's like, I want to go play my NBA career, my entire career in Milwaukee. Man, not even the GOAT himself, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, stayed. Like, and I don't even resent him for it. The big O, like, no, like, in sports now, it's super transient. And I just, to have these small market underdog teams, it wasn't just thumbing its nose at the NBA. To me, it was thumbing its nose at the entire system, like the world. That, like, it, like, I don't want this to be propaganda or rhetoric that says, like, yeah, live your dreams and you can make it happen, blah blah blah. Because, like, we know the reality is you got to get lucky along the way. You got to have help along the way too. Which, in Giannis's long form pressers, he brings up all that stuff, but they always clip it down to, like, the whole "I worked hard and I had a dream," and so it fits the American dream narrative. But if you listen to his whole presser, which I did several times, he talks about the people who helped him along the way, getting lucky, blah blah blah. Like, the broad narrative of this for me was just fucking life affirming. This is a team that, like, and it was on both sides too. Like, if it was against the Nets, I had no remorse cheering against them. And Rocco's a Nets fan, and he was in, like, our chat sometime when I'm teeing off and making fun of the Nets. He's like, "I'll excuse myself." like I'm like, "Sorry, Rocco, man. Any other day, buddy." But, like, that rooting interest you get. This is one of the things I think that makes sports great, is because that your rooting interest ultimately doesn't really matter. I mean, I didn't stop me from being superstitious. I had to wear my Giannis shirt that was gifted to me from Tomb King Tristan, actually, because the Bucks were undefeated in it this series. So I had to wear it for Game 6.
There was some extremely superstitious behavior that I was aware of. Like, it was just, like, I believe you said, "I know what combinations of socks don't work."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My No Mercy Cobra Kai socks are the one where Giannis landed on his knee. and I took them off immediately and threw them down the laundry chute, and then I went and I grabbed my my second best pair of socks and put them on. So we lost the game, but Giannis wasn't crippled. Or did we lose?
So it worked.
So it was the socks, and I saved the popsicle socks, which are my most powerful socks, for Game 6, because like I don't want to use up all their power in other parts of the series.
Reasonable.
Barefoot for Game 6.
No,
I paced around my living room like a caged animal for the whole second half.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting on the edge of my couch, and then for all of the second half, I was pacing. I would multiple group text, trying to like talk myself off of the sports fan like edge of, do I stop watching? Will it help if I don't watch? Like I can't watch. I'm so terrified of what's happening.
So there were games where like Brendan had games where like they won the games that he didn't watch early on in it, and he put that in my head, and so I was like, oh no, like, and then I started to become hyper aware of like, so I'm like, okay, the games that like I missed the tip off for, we win. So I had missed the tip off for this one on purpose, on Game 6. I missed the tip off. Like it's just. If you ask me on a lie detector test if I'm superstitious, I will tell you no, and it will not be a lie. But when sports roll around, I'm like, I will tell you bold face that I am not superstitious, and then I like explain all my superstitions.
I think there's something to be said for like being a fan of sports or watching, especially one who watches sports. Like, talk about something that you have so little control over the outcome, right?
Absolutely none.
Like
zero.
Yeah. Not a iota of what you do can actually like physically, psychologically affect the play on the field, on the court, whatever.
Yeah.
Unless you were at the game and you are one of these assholes who like fucks with the players, then you have no no outcome from your living room. You have no ability to affect the outcome from your living room.
But
zero.
Yet, in some ways, we think we do, right? I wore the wrong socks. I sat in a different spot. I went here for the game. I wore the same shirt. Like, we're looking for these things. And I say we because I think we all, at least the four of us here, have some aspect of, like, superstitious, like, sports viewing where we are worried that if we upset the apple cart, it's game over and it's our fault, when we have actually no way possible to impact that result.
I think what it is you want to feel like you're connected to it, right? Like you want to feel like you're a part of it, right? Because you care about it so much for whatever reason and because that care is so high that you want to feel that you're a part of it. And when you start feeling that you're a part of it, I think it's human nature that you start feeling like you actually have an impact, or your own hubris or whatever, that you're somehow actually involved in that. Even when you're not, you're like, there's no way that they knew what socks I was wearing, or whether I sat in this chair or that chair, if I watched it at this bar or that bar, or who I had with or whatever. But you want to feel like you're a part of it in some way.
Don't diss the popsicle socks.
One way.
The popsicle socks are why it's Bucks and 6 right now. Okay. It was the popsicle socks. Like, most powerful socks. Go on.
The last 4 games of that series, I'm pretty sure Jrue Holiday started like pretty poorly in each of the first quarters, right? He came around in game 5 and had just an astronomically good game, but he was starting poorly in each one. So like one thing we did in a group text I'm in with a few guys, it was we were picking on our buddy Josh, saying, Josh, let good Jrue go. Evil Drew's like, he's on the court. We need the good one back, saying like he had a twin. And like, so every night when Holiday would start off rough, it was release the good Jrue. Like, let him go, Josh. Don't keep him in your basement any longer. And we just kept that going. And like the same messages, the same stuff. Like, we all just fell into this. Like, we gotta keep creating this moment so that our team can win.
Well, if I may, just addressing chat gang here, I mean, sports is a religion, kind of. I mean, for many intents and I think it's, football, especially the parallels between sports and religion are insanity. It's on Sunday, for crying out. Like, there's the day of worship for football. For like they've expanded to Monday and Thursday, but like football is really
They'll have most of the churches now. They offer a Thursday night and like
yeah
Saturday, and
yeah.
it's like
No, I think
yeah.
you got to be
why
aware of
why
this stuff.
can't football?
Yeah. Why can't football? Yeah, exactly. Ty, what was your favorite Game 6 moment?
So non-athletic performance. It was Bobby Portis getting in the way of Chris Paul, and then just smiling, having the time of his goddamn life. Like after that, just that is to me that so Portis has done a lot of great things for this team.
Well, as
like
Tomb King
clinch
Tristan pointed
buckets,
in here as part of like the narrative of the team. I don't mean to cut you off here, but
no.
Bobby Portis like skipped out on the bubble, to be with his mother, right? Like there was so many good narratives in this one. Like I said, it was almost like it felt like it was overloaded with narratives, the way like an amateur writer would overload a story with narratives. The injury, and then the main character comes back from a devastating injury. What?
Yeah.
What? Come on, quit with the fucking like MC powers here. Quit with the Mary Sue garbage writing. Sorry, continue, Ty.
Yeah. But no, so like Bobby, man, talk about he was embraced by the fans too. I mean, like what he became as the symbol of like the Milwaukee
the
mentality.
Blue collar, it was the blue collar.
Yep.
Like that small market blue collar underdog mentality. Yeah.
And he said, he came here like his old team. He's like, I had plays drawn up for me. Here, I don't have plays drawn up for me. I used to get 16 shots a game. I'm getting 7 or 8. Like making the most of the time he got is what was so cool about what Portis did this year. But seeing him on the court, just like the energy that every time he comes into the game, he would inject too. It was almost like Budenholzer knew when they needed just a little bit of Portis like energy, and you'd see him in there and he'd hit a clutch like 3 or just get in the paint and bang around. Like he did a lot that was just incredible. But the Chris Paul getting between him and Scott, was it Scott Foster, the ref
yeah.
too?
I thought he was
that
getting
was
teed up.
like,
I thought
yeah.
I thought the T would come there. Like
it could have come. It definitely could have come. But then he got it with his high step and run down the court, which was also fantastic.
Being a responsible athlete and stretching his legs. I don't know why you would tee him up for just doing the responsible thing. Like he fucking like canned off. Oh, like I mean, Budenholzer was losing it. Like he was. They cut the Budenholzer, and Bud is just seething on the sideline, and me, the fan, is like Bobby. Like I'm like, yes, take that. You take that tee. That's yes. Like you got what you like. For me, it was like he got a free tee for later on in the game when he didn't get teed up for
he had one to throw away.
Yeah, he had one to throw away, and then CP3 misses the shot, and I shouted at my screen immediately, "Ball don't lie."
Ball don't lie, absolutely. But the basketball moment and the final score was separation of what, 8 points, roughly.
7 or 8
points.
It was 105 to like 98 or right, something like that.
Yeah. But so I do a lot of looking at like the box score and differentials and like shooting percentage, free throws, stuff. Like I'm a
it's the baseball mind.
Nut.
Yeah, the baseball fan. Yeah, that's
like what could have we done different? And the losses as well. We hit our free throws. And so like this is weird. And we talked about Giannis's superpower. He just decided I want to hit free throws.
Yeah.
But when he was sitting at, I think it was 8 of 9, his first 9, he'd hit eight of them. I thought, and the thought crossed my head, and I wish I had like recorded a video where I said if he shoots like 15, 16 free throws tonight, and he only misses, a couple, we're winning the game. Like I made that conscious decision.
You made that decision. You made that decision, huh?
Yeah, I controlled the outcome. I didn't say Giannis is going to make all of these. I said if he does, like the Bucks will win. If he doesn't shoot poorly from the line,
I've never
win this game.
In my history of watching basketball, we mentioned my origins with like being like the Like Mike era, and kind of circling back to liking sports as as an adult or in the secret. Like I have never in that entire time been interested in free throw shooting. I don't care. Even like oh yeah, Shaq's like shanking feet. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like he's not there to make free throws. I don't like for me the value in someone like a Shaq who doesn't shoot good free throws is to like get someone to just foul out. That's as good as in my mind. Like, but to watch.
For me,
yeah, go ahead.
For me, it was knowing Phoenix is more of a jump shooting team, doesn't get to the line a lot. I think during the season they averaged 16 or 17 free throws. In my head, I said, if the Bucks get to the line 25 times and they can shoot 80%, like that's points towards the spread to like stay on top of the Suns. It's always winning 12 minutes at a time. What do you got to do to end up in the the basketball is such a game of plus minus and like swings.
Yep.
That free throws to me were like what I said. This mitigates the swinging percentage. If you get to the line that many times and you hit your free throws 80% clip or better, you will win most of the games that you play. And the Bucks hadn't been a good free throw shooting team up to that point.
Chat gang, remember that part where I said that sports fans are fucking nerds? Right there.
Yeah, the free throw is exactly what I was afraid of as a Suns fan. Like,
what was your perspective? Yeah, as Giannis is like,
I mean, that was
my
what I was
God,
afraid
hitting
of.
him.
Like he started off was coming off of the Nets series where he was doing terrible, and he started off like not really that great at free throws, and then it just like kept getting better and better, and I was just like, oh no, just oh no, because I mean, Ayton's not to the point where where people are purposely fouling him to make him not score, even though I think up until game 3 or 4, he was shooting like 80%.
Yeah.
Like Ayton was making everything that the Suns gave him the ball. I wish they would have been able to give him the ball more, but it is what it is. But so he wasn't where he was at for to be where people are just fouling him so that he doesn't make points. And then, he's, strong enough to then, well, they're going to foul me. So then I just make the points through the foul, like Giannis. And once Giannis started making free throws, it was just, well, now he's going to go from, well, I'm going to get 30 no matter what. Then I'm going to get 40 no matter what. And then it ended up being, okay, so he got like all his free throws and he ended up from the 40 to the 50 line. And you're like, well, what do you do? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, I sitting there watching him just hit them, and they were smooth. Like, it was like Middleton was shooting the free throws.
Yeah.
He had one where it like rolled, it kind of rolled. He had one that had like a lucky bounce, and he had one where it like kind of rolled in. Yeah.
All the way around.
Yeah,
It felt like forever.
Oh man.
I think it was his first one. Where just in there you just went, oh no, this is gonna decide everything.
Well, I think he's overthinking his free throw shot is really what it comes down to.
Well, one thing I noticed, I'm sure you all did too, is he started not taking as long. Like he started just
shoot.
He does his fake shot
6
without
bounces.
it, but then he would just started just shooting faster rather than, well, I have to take all 6 bounces as much time as I can and then shoot the ball.
I don't know if you guys watched the shoot around before the game when the cameras around him. He was money from the free throw line in pregame. Like he was out there. It looked like he maybe took 10, and it was just make as they're doing the thing. You see him in the background just shooting free throws.
Oh man, I bet you it's all he practiced. He didn't. It's all he needed to
practice. He's got everything else.
I don't care if he doesn't shoot threes, man. Like, everyone's like, oh, if he develops a jumper. I'm like, no. Run at them every time and be able to sink your...
He needs to stop shooting threes. Every time he's behind the three-point line, even when they were playing against the Suns, it was like, don't you dare, Giannis.
Probably
drive to the basket. Just do not shoot that three.
As a casual basketball fan...
I don't want him to make them. I want him to miss, because when he makes one, I'm like, oh, crap.
He's gonna try more.
He's gonna shoot another one because he thinks he can, like.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I don't like. If I'm a casual fan, I put myself in the casual mentality. We have this physical, just truly freak specimen of a human being that is, quite frankly, the most electric, like, person in the paint I've ever seen. And that's my bias, sure, but like I was living in Milwaukee when he's drafted. I, just had my kid. Like, we met Bango, and like I'm just like, this kid's gonna be great. This kid at the time, Giannis, right? Like, but also my son is gonna be great too. And just like, so I have a vested interest, and as he was developing into something, I had to like ask my like smarter basketball friends who don't have as strong a bias, because I indulge my biases when it comes to sports, and a little bit in Warhammer too. Like I don't see anything wrong with being a little bit of a homer. We throw it around like it's a negative thing. No, man, be passionate about the thing. It's fun to be passionate. Yeah. But like I just, since Giannis and my whole career, I've never saw someone that like watching him handle the ball and play had me that like just engaged and excited every time. Every time he gets to like, every time he gets that like little dribble up to the 3-point line and he goes in and he backs out a little, I'm like, oh, what's he gonna do this time? Like every time. Like it fully revitalized, from like a cursory interest, like going to a couple games because you live in Milwaukee, and like, yeah, I like the Bucks, but like the post Ray Allen era was like brutal. Like it was just brutal, for a long time. So go ahead.
I was gonna say, talking about like Giannis and the way he plays, and the only other person in the NBA I think that is as fun to watch as Giannis, because Giannis I think plays the best. Steph Curry, yeah. Steph Curry is the only other person I'm like, I don't care. Just I want to see what he does with the ball. He's gonna shoot from half court. He's gonna dribble all the way through somebody, not look at the basket, and throw up a hook shot and still score somehow. Yeah. Like they're the only two people. Well, they're the two people I think are the most exciting right now in the NBA to watch, because the type of game that they play it so much better than everybody else.
Yeah. At that, yeah.
That it's exciting.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, you're watching like a player like a Steph Curry and Durant too. Like I was mesmerized every time like KD had the ball. Like
that game 7, man. Like
what was that?
Like that game 7. Like at the end of that game, they should have tested him, not for PEDs or any sort of thing. Like they should have just tested to see if he was human. Yeah. Like he was making shots where like the physics didn't make sense.
Yeah, as an engineer, like you're like, what the fuck?
Well, he's just,
that shouldn't be possible.
Yeah. It's so crazy how smooth he is.
Yeah.
And like his form and the arc on his shots is just one of those like
it just drifts. It's like it's got a magnet in the ball.
Like, yeah.
Like yeah, it's like I said, it's mesmerizing to watch him. The way he like moves and like just the motion of his shot and stuff, and how it just like you said, that arch, and I'm just like, and it's just like net, like over and over and over again. I'm like, he had this one like bank shot where he like he fucking hit the plastic wrap on the stupid hoop, or on the backboard, and it like just angled straight into the net. And I'm like, what? Like, is there somebody with like a controller like inside of a robot that is KD controlling the ball with, like, is it a mech situation with like an alien? I think you're right. Like, yeah, KD is like just like an elite, like just this elite scorer, and I don't know. Yeah, so there's just that. I mean, that's the thing I like about basketball over like other sports, is that like you can just like watch a star and still get enjoyment out of the game, whether win or loss or whatever. For me, being introduced to Devin Booker in this series was infuriating. I watched perfect defense being played on him by two of the best defenders in the league. Like 3 if you count Giannis, who has a defensive player of the year award as well.
Yeah.
So watching Tuck, Drew, and Giannis defend this guy, and him just like with these lean away, like Giannis, and I'm just like,
turn around,
stop.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I'm like he can't defend you any better. Like, I mean, this is the defense you teach. You keep doing it, hoping that it stops him, and he just keeps hitting it. I'm like, stop it. Like, which will segue into my favorite part of the game, which was watching Drew put him on an island and just like, just take him out. Like it was like when okay, so like if by the time we made it to the Phoenix series, I had endured KD just running roughshod on our team the whole time. To where I'm like, okay, if no other star, if we shut down the others, because Katie's going to get a shot. It's just Katie is going to score if Katie wants to. So, like, as long as we just, Katie, have 50 points, whatever, man. Just stop other people from scoring at all times, right? And that's kind of how I started to feel about, like, I'm like, if Booker's a problem, just stop him from scoring. Like, I'm like, if we can just, like, stop one or the CP3 or him any given game, then I think we'll be fine. And that's what I saw kind of happen. It was like, when I was getting afraid because in that second quarter, you're watching like Booker and CP3 both starting to heat up. And I'm like, no. And then Drew just, I don't know what he did coming out of the second half, but like Booker was just quiet.
It was good. It was good. Drew got out of Coop's basement.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I wish you would have kept him there.
Oh, and
I wish you would have kept him there. But I mean, like, so yeah, I'm like really happy that a lot of people got to see Devin Booker play on the, you know, the highest stage for basketball. Like, really happy about that. Like, yeah, Drew played amazing defense on him in Game 6, and just like was like, we're not gonna let you.
The mayor of
We're not gonna
Clamptown.
let you play basketball. Like, we're just not gonna let you play basketball anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of other teams had done that, like, throughout the series. Like the Lakers tried to, like the Clippers tried to, and like when that happened for the Suns, like at that point in time, like Ayton and like Bridges. I mean, Cameron Payne had a 30-point game against the Clippers when Chris Paul was injured when he was on COVID protocol. And so, like, a lot of the other Suns players were able to then, like, rise to that level, but, like, it just didn't happen this series against the Bucks. Like,
All right.
they had the first two games where they came out hot, but a lot of the other times, and even throughout the rest of the season, it'd be like, okay, well, you can lock down CP3, or you can lock down Booker, but then somebody else from the Suns is also going to go and get like 30 points on you that you weren't expecting.
Right. Yeah. So you always had like something like that. So I hate Twitch here. Clever name. Okay, I'm going to bed, but I want a firm affirmation from you Bucks fans as to the impact of Arkansas Razorbacks on the Milwaukee Bucks. You mean because Bobby P?
Enormous. Like what? Like Ty covered it.
Bobby
he's huge.
Buckets is a legend.
Yeah, BP the gas man. Like he got the keys of the city. Like what more do you want?
The people's champ.
The people's champ. Yeah. That's why he's walking around with the belt, because he's the people's champ. Yeah. Like he just Sidney Moncrief.
Moncrief was a Razorback, right?
Was he a Razorback? So both Razorbacks? Smooth.
I think so.
Right on. Right on.
Yeah, but Sidney Moncrief ain't walking through that door.
No, no, and we're talking about this game. Like, no, I mean Bobby Portis has been like you said, the BP, the gas man. Like, he's just
a spark plug. Just a spark plug for this team.
I've never cheered for a technical foul before Bobby Portis. You usually like groan when he took the technical foul. I'm like, you fucking yeah, Bobby, and start chanting. Like, who could get that out of you?
I cheered for Jay Crowder when he salsa danced on LeBron.
That's fair. I Portis had a foul in it might have been the Nets series or might have been earlier on this, where it was just a regular foul, and like he just like walked away and he gave like the crazy eyes, and like the Bobby chants came out, and I'm like, that's right, that's a fucking good foul, you know, like
that was the Atlanta game too, because I was in the stadium for that, and the place went absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
I think what Portis does too, and he says that he's grown from this, but like,
so what are you implying that we don't win championships without a Razorback on the roster?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess that's a fact, right?
Lifetime contract, no problem. Give him the UD contract where he gets to be the 15th man until he dies. Like,
Todd Day was a buck. Those were dark days, though.
Yeah, we don't
get it. Dark days, Todd Day.
Yeah,
But Bobby Portis had a quote about his pregame. Have you guys seen that? Where it talked about what he thinks in the locker room before the game, and it was earlier in his career. It was probably 4 years ago or so. and he's since tweeted about it saying like, "Oh, I've grown." You know, he hasn't denied it, but they asked him like what he does, what mindset he gets into, and he says, "I think about my opponent slapping my mom, and then I go out there and whoop their ass." Like that mentality of like, just he's like, "I think that this person who I'm up against has slapped my mom, and then I go out there and I take it to him." Like,
I feel like we don't talk about PJ. I mean, Portis is like Team Bobby, like Team BP, like so firmly for. I just love his stuff. Like he's got the right stuff, right? And he was playing when Giannis is down. He's playing and he's starting for Giannis.
yeah, well, he put in what 2024.
Yeah,
Didn't he
game
score
six.
in the
It
early
was,
20s and when Giannis was out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
See, I even forgot where we played against Atlanta.
I didn't forget Trey Young. We were talking about Booker's coming out party and like people seeing him play. Trey Young, that kid
Young also.
can score. Holy crap. I
Yeah.
had no idea how good he was in those early games of that series where he's driving and he's hitting these off balance and his floaters and like he's just going up and over people that are, it feels like twice his size. Trey Young can't be much over 6 foot tall, like
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and just a shooter.
Well-
He'll be fun to watch for years to come.
Well, see, that was the other thing is like the small markets. Both teams got to showcase some talent. Like people got to have respect on Booker and I mean Giannis. It feels like Giannis hasn't gotten the national like attention, respect. Like you have Harden calling him no skill, and like man, did he
And
just
even KD trash talking them in the net series.
Well, you know, another one of the I talked about like all the various moments where like I was tearing up watching just consuming all the stuff. There was this montage of like the Bucks getting to the finals, and like one of the shots they show is at the end of Game 7. Katie and Giannis hug, and Katie punches Giannis in the chest, and he says, "Go get you one."
Go get that ring. Yeah.
Yeah. He says, "Go get you one," or go get that ring. Like, just that, yeah, like. Oh, like I'm just goosebumps, man. Like sports are like they, you know, competition. I think like we live in a time period where it's kind of awesome. Like it's easy to be a like doomer pilled and like kind of hate on the world, and there's a lot to be worried about. It feels like we live in to Dr. Darkmatch coined this one, and I'm stealing it forever. The boring dystopia. Like we're just in this, and then like, and so you kind of look for these little like sparks of light wherever you can find them, and for me, like sports is one of them. And you get these like Giannis Antetokounmpo went from selling sunglasses in like a Nigerian immigrant family to Athens, Greece, kid selling sunglasses on the street to I'm going to say objectively right now the most dominant player in the NBA. Just currently right now as of speaking, right? Like could change next year, but right now, like the titles, the hardware, everything to prove it, right? Just popping off for 50 points. He's done something he's one of 3 NBA players ever to have all the hardware he has. Like,
yeah, Hakeem, Jordan, and him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like it you know, undeniably, like just this great talent, and to just come from this humble beginning, like. You know, one of the things he was shy about early on in his career was like that he didn't speak very good English. He didn't have a suit to show up to the NBA draft. And so like was that Horst?
Hammond drafted him.
Hammond went out and bought him a suit. Like so that he could be at the draft. Like we had I watched that video where he's like, you know, what do you want to do? You know, he's like, I want to be an NBA player. And then like they keep asking him and like, what's your goal for the NBA? This is like the draft day video. Like, and what's your goal for an NBA player? And he's like, to get better, to be an NBA player. And just like, fucking my heart, like it like exploded. And you know, when he put on the Pasky shirt, like. Yeah. For the presser, I'm just like, dude, he gets it. Like the Milwaukee mentality, that blue collar city. Like, You know, this is a city industry forgot. You know, it teeters back and forth in the top 3 spots for most gentrified city in the entire country. I myself wandered through life. You know, my mom chased a Marine down to North Carolina. I was born, up in the cities in Minnesota. She chases like the first Marine catches her eye down to North Carolina with me and my sister, who was a newborn at the time. I'm flipping 2 years old. We live off the barracks in Camp Lejeune. And then, like, she loses custody of me to foster care. I bounce all around. Like, I end up with my grandma gets me out of foster care, but then my grandma has a mental breakdown, so I end up living with an aunt. My aunt and I fight constantly, so I end up living with this uncle and then this aunt and yada yada, like, just fucking nowhere. And I go off to college because I was told by everything in my life that if you get an education, you get out of what you're in, right? Like, that's student counselors all told me that. Like, I had a temper. I fought everybody. I was drinking young. Not on a good path. Now, I wasn't selling sunglasses on the street to get by, but, I always had after a point, I always had a roof over my head. And I get through college. I don't have anything to do. I call up my dad. I'm like, Dad, I did the college thing. What do I do? And, he decided he was my best friend when I was about 14 years old, and he kind of came into my life and like, yeah. Cool, Dad. Buy you a PS2. Yeah. Like, the dad who goes out to get smokes and never, like, he's the techless. Like, he just, like, and, and then, like, I get through college, and he just, like, he vanishes when I'm in college, when I needed a support structure the most. And I'm like, so I call him up, and I'm like, Dad, what do I do now? And he's like, you get a job. And I'm like, great advice, Dad. Thank you. And so I taught Joe, hey, well, I'm like, I don't know what to do next, man. And he's like, my grandpa's got a business out in Milwaukee. We'll move you out. Like, come out to Milwaukee. I was 23, 24, somewhere in there. I'd have to do math. And
math is hard.
Yeah, it's hard. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was home. Milwaukee's dirty, and it's got sections of it they call industrial relics. Just these like urban decay, like, look at the husks gentrification has left, like, look at, like, industry being shipped out of the city. Like, they're just there. The Cream City brick, how it starts to color shift, like, over time. Like, you can have there's this bend on Holly Road where in 1 minute you're looking at the city skyline, and then you bend and it's trees and dirty Stalis is on the other side. And, like, the city was like, it's this crazy, like, eclectic little place. I lived on the east side. We walked fucking everywhere and took buses everywhere. I remember getting hammered ass drunk. I was just gonna go out one night, 8 o'clock, 20-something. Molly and I just started dating, and we're gonna go get a case of PBR, because that's what you fucking do in Milwaukee. We're gonna get a case of PBR. We're gonna go back and just drink and watch fucking Archers. I don't know. Adventure Time or Aqua Teen, I don't know. And we go and we end up running into friends on North Avenue outside of the Up and Under. And sorry, it was Landmark. And we end up just, like, stashing the 30 case of PBR around the corner behind some dumpsters, go in, drink. We end up closing the bars, and, like, everywhere we go, we go back and we check, and our 30-pack's still there. We grab our 30-pack, we walk through North Avenue. And we're just handing out PBR from this fucking case to everyone we see. And, like, a week later, somebody gets stabbed in North Park. And I'm like, you know what? It was probably the same people there, and they just decided to stab these other people in North Park. And I'm like, but, like, if you embrace Milwaukee, Milwaukee fucking embraces you. And that's the lesson I was going with here. Like I love that city. And it's hard to describe how much I love Milwaukee and how much I found my heart, like, in Milwaukee. Like, my whole life just lost. And, then I met Molly. I had these great times. I just like I step onto Brady Street and I feel home. You know, you know, I don't know. It's just there's just something about that city. You know, all the memories I piled up. Both my kids are born from there, and just this. Finally, I had a home, and this Bucks team that I've always kind of liked because I became a Wisconsin homer to overcompensate for not having a real origin story, right? Like, and to watch this team finally like win, you know, with this just awesome player who had this like kind of like hard knock life too. It was I mean it's indescribable. I know I didn't win the championship and that my popsicle socks, as powerful as they are, didn't win, but no, it's
Well,
go ahead.
we won though. Like, you know, that's the thing about a team, right? Like having a home team, your connection to the city, you know, Brendan's connection, my connect, like we are a fan base, right? And when a team wins a championship, yeah, we are not winning a trophy. We are not, you know, but like we get to experience that, and the experience of that victory, the experience of that feeling of like, you know, dedicating yourself to something and then achieving greatness. We talked about watching, you know, a master, watching greatness, like how you,
Yeah.
like that's what we got to do as a collective. And we got to do it as a collective and like of coming off of or still in one of the worst 2 years of like recent history. Like I I know I needed something. I needed a win, something good to happen.
Yeah.
Like, and it was something good that happened that we could all celebrate and be, you know, connected in some way,
Yeah.
and like enjoy. And I think that's a cool thing about sports in general. And why I like is your highs are so high when your team is winning, and your lows are so low when your team is like losing. Or, you know, I think of the Brewers losing to the Dodgers in the NLCS, like how much I despised.
Kicker,
Like,
worst year ever.
worst year ever. But it like 2020 was rough, and I mean
Yeah.
we don't need to dwell on that. Everyone knows 2020 was a pretty
it's
grim
brutal.
year.
It was brutal.
And this team and this playoff run and this championship was just one thing for like a week. Like, to your point, I think you mentioned it, having a great week. Like, I'm feeling good like all week, you know, just watching the press interviews, having the parade on today, like,
Yeah.
you know, just
Watching
celebrating.
Tux completely lit, like
Yes,
out of his
pouring
fucking
champagne over the
mind.
Larry O'Brien trophy, like, and then telling it off with his T-shirt when Drew says, "Man, Tuck, you got a lot of champagne on this trophy." Like, but those moments, those interviews, the videos, like I've been watching the Giannis videos, I've been watching highlights, like it's just something to celebrate and have fun with, and like enjoy. And it's been such a pick me up. Like, I hope it never ends.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just like I mean, I think on a basic level, sports are escapism, like
Yeah.
any other tabletop thing. But like the absolute like collective communal aspect, part of the thing, like I mentioned, like Milwaukee, the city. What I love about Milwaukee is if you've got a Brewers cap on or a Bucks cap on, and you walk fucking anywhere, like you have this like rallying cry of like you can just like, you know, Bucks and six, you know, like, and you just point Bucks and six. We were at Ren Fair, the night. So it was that Saturday was game 5, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Saturday was game. We were at Ren Fair, and I had to choose like either go in my cosplay, basically. I don't know if you call it cosplay for Ren Fair, but I finally meticulously put together like some cosplay because I want to have some cosplay for AOS tournaments. So I've been putting together a wardrobe, and so I'm like, I can go on that, or I can go in Bucks gear, and I'm like, I got to go in Bucks gear. Like I was kind of like sad all day a little bit every time I'd see a really cool outfit. I'm like, damn, I could have been in a cool outfit. Like, and like my buddy Keegan, he put on his Chris Middleton is good shirt, and so like we had this part where like somebody like told Keegan Chris Middleton was not good, and I had to stop a fight from happening. because we're both like half drunk Irishmen, right? Like, like
That's fighting words.
yeah. He's like, Chris, what do you mean? He's like, what did you say? And I'm like, Keegan. Fucking great time. But then the other part of it was like, you just be walking along and then just someone would be like, Bucks and six, like, and then we're leaving Ren Fair, we get a Bucks and six chant started, like, oh man, like there's, I love Age of Sigmar, I love my nerdly vices a great deal, and if you asked me to rank them, I would probably have some that I could rank above like basketball, right? I think no doubt about that, but like, I don't think there's something as like universal as that. If I'm at a convention, I could probably like, we've got this. You had the Slambo chance at Adepticon a few years back, right? That's fucking hilarious. Like I love that. Like the Ever Chosen podcast guys, like Sons of Slambo had that going on. So just randomly throughout the Adepticon weekend, you'd hear Slambo, and then like a bunch of people just shout Slambo, like right, like it was fantastic. But like that's at the convention. I went elsewhere and got a Bucks and six chant going, right? Like I probably could have like maybe get one guy to shout Slambo back at me who may or may not know what the fuck's going on at the Ren Fair, right? Like
Yeah.
I could, if I go to Indianapolis, I used to love to bring my my Milwaukee Bucks BMO card and insist on paying for drinks with it at Gen Con again when I knew it was like a fucking Pacers fan or something. Just, and then we'd have a basketball like chat, even though we're there for like talking about Dris Duerden and shit. Like, that like the camaraderie. I like sports because it's like a universal language. Like you can, it's just anywhere you go, or like if you see somebody like their team's doing good that year. Like I'm gonna see someone in a Booker jersey from now. Dude, fucking guy's dope, right? Like it's you have that like common language that's just yeah, there's a lot of crap and exploitative NCAA practice. There's a lot of stuff that can get a lot better, and it should get better, but it needs like, quite frankly, it needs a bunch of lefties that enjoy the sport pushing our lefty causes, But like it's fucking unionized. You can argue that like sports players get paid so much because they're extracting the most percentage of wealth from their labor. They're like super socialists. In fact, maybe that's why never mind. Like they're like super socialists in that they extract more value from their labor than the average worker does from their body, right? Like, and their labor. Like
Collective bargaining.
That's right, they do. Like, it's
Against CP3 Players Union rep.
We dogs. That's right. No, it's just like I don't know. There's such like great things in sports too. Is all I'm trying to say. Like there's a lot of good stuff you can find in sports, and there's a lot of nerdy shit you can do with numbers.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
confirm.
You guys are gonna like have a conversation. I'm gonna go grab a beer and then we can wrap this up. Sound good? Because I see two of you are fading.
Yeah. Sounds good. Brendan, your way. I'm expecting great things from you in our next D&D session. You're gonna have to stay up till the bitter end. Now I've seen you can do it. So.
Oh man, it's only because the Bucks games, because like the finals games have been kicking off at 8,
yeah,
and like no game ends before 10:30.
No.
So this is just
and if it looks like it's getting close to ending before 10:30, don't worry. There'll be some timeouts and some things called.
It's gonna be a little bit of hack of Giannis. That was definitely the one thing that we missed this series. I'm eternally grateful for. There is nothing I hate more than just the parade to the free throw line.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like Game 4, Game 5 of that Suns Clippers series, where like that game just would not end.
Literally the last 2 minutes of it lasted, I think, 45 minutes. Like the last 2 minutes of game time lasted actually 45
just
minutes.
Insane.
Sad skip ball. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, oh god, and it was that horrendous like 86-89 finish where it wasn't even like this was some beautiful high scoring affair, for the other remainder of the game. It was just cool. This was a gravel fight, and we're just going to resort to. I understand that it's an effective tactic and a valid tactic of basketball, but we are going to go with literally the worst way to play this game, which is hoping guys don't make free throws. Like,
Right.
boo, gross, awful, horrible. The NBA needs to move to the Elam ending style finishes that the basketball tournament uses. It's way more fun. It's way easier to just live with. Like, ugh, just hate it. Hate it so much. Just the worst.
So what roster impacts do you see next year for the Bucks? I know this is so far down the basketball hole, so I'm just going further. Like, you think Portis will probably get a big deal offer somewhere? Does he stay, or does he go? You imagine Tucker's probably gone.
Yeah, we'll see. Tucker looked washed in a lot of ways. Where like,
I mean, he gave it all against KD, and then just
Yeah.
gave everything else he had in basketball to defend KD for the Bucks.
Yeah.
I think what'll happen with Tucker is the Bucks will make him an offer, but there's gonna be like some kind of team out there who wants a piece like Tucker and is going to offer him, an extra year or two to make him a tradable asset, and they're gonna offer him some money. Like, it's not gonna be this like world-busting deal, but it's going to be a team that thinks it's like a PJ Tucker away from, from going over the hump. I think if you'd asked me after the Heat series, Bryn Forbes was going to opt out and go try and make $1 gazillion. I think he'll probably opt in. I do think Bobby will probably take a discount to stay here. I think
hope
he
so.
found.
I really hope so.
Same.
But
Yeah, to your point, like, if there's a team out there that's going to offer him like 4 years and like 5.5 a year,
and I think there is. I think there's a market for him.
Does eyes though, so good, and he knows he has them, and he uses them on purpose. So good. I love Bobby P.
Lopez has a year left.
We've got 1 year. We don't have anyone we have to lose this year currently, right? That's the contracts all line up. We got 1 more year with them.
Yeah, no, we've got 3 years more of Middleton, 5 more of Giannis, 5 more of Drew.
Yep.
We either have 1 or 2 of Lopez.
I can't imagine them keeping Lopez through the whole contract. I see him being an expiring contract deal in a year, maybe the series back, but.
Well, I think that they need to, if they're gonna repeat, they need to shuffle it up a little bit. Like, I don't think.
We need 1 more guard. Like, it's just
I mean, Jeff Teague's gone. Let's be honest.
Yeah, part of the issue with the rotation was not having DDV.
Not having Dante there was huge. Like, I keep forgetting. Like, add him back into the mix. And it's just such a different dynamic, like.
And then the guard rotation doesn't look so bad, right? But you still need that third, like that. I guess it's really that second rotation guy, because you can't have Pat Connaughton in there for all
20
of the guard rotation minutes, especially if he does that happy lucky leprechaun thing that he likes to do and ends up in foul trouble, like.
Yeah. I like Connaughton's energy. I think he brings a spark to it, but I want him to come in to do this. I want him to come in and like be the spark in the moment.
I like Connaughton in very limited minutes. I like him as a role player and a
bench mob
energy guy, but not a 20 minutes like.
Yeah.
To Brendan's point, where he's in the rotation and he's getting significant minutes. Like, the finals, his 3-point shooting was phenomenal. Shot 50%? Like,
it was nuts. It was. It made no sense.
But
good time for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with Forbes, falling into a black hole after the Miami series.
But that's what he does. That's Brent Forbes. He doesn't play defense, and he's supposed to be like a 3-point shooter, and he just.
He wasn't a 3-point shooter. There's no purpose to him.
You have one job. One job. Like,
I love Pat though. Like
I do.
Connaughton's fun to watch. I like he's also, you can tell he's one of Giannis's guys. Like, I mean, workout partners, like
Yeah.
just there's camaraderie there.
I
And I think that's important to keep guys like that around Giannis too.
Yes.
Like,
I agree. Well, it's like Chris Middleton. I want them both to retire as Bucks together. You know, like I want one more championship in a couple years. You know, 2-3 years, and for them to retire together. Like, if okay,
you don't want them retiring together. Middleton's got a number of years on Giannis. Like Giannis can keep going.
well, you know what I mean. We're in an era where like it's not Bucks for life, and like, or where it's really like you know, pretty much every great has gone on to a different team. You know, no one remembers Steve Young leaving. You know, nobody remembers Montana elsewhere. We all remember Favre elsewhere. Like, you know, but like those like greats always, you know, the Wizards Jordan years, right? Like they all do that, right? But so like I know it's
Dan Marino never left Miami.
yeah, but he never won anything.
I know.
Yeah, the greatest. They take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. Miami Dolphins fight Sonic. It's okay.
Remember how much of a fool that guy was? Yeah. I can't believe the Giannis hate.
I love the if I'm Nick Batum, I'm going back to Greece. His response to that comment from, was it Oppenheimer that told him that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I can't wait for that book, man. That excerpt from the Giannis book is like that's gonna be such a good read.
I knew about the mean mug, I like the Giannis trivia, but like there's so much more I don't know about Giannis and I need to know. There's a YouTube documentary. It was like a 40-minute documentary on Giannis. Like a high quality actual documentary. It came out 2-3 years ago, probably. 2-3. I got to say it, Wisconsin like.
A couple of 2-3.
Yeah. A couple 2-3. Yeah, that one was really good. The meme.
When's the Giannis Disney movie coming?
He turned down Space Jam. Do you remember that?
No, he's getting a movie with him about him and his brothers.
His life story, right?
Yeah, all three championship. All three are champions.
Isn't that the first time only that three brothers have had?
Yes, yeah. All three have
NBA
championship rings. Yeah.
I don't know if there are three brothers that have played in the league other than them. I can't think of
Holiday brothers.
Holiday, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, so all three with rings.
Well, Francis isn't gonna get hit. Francis isn't gonna get one, because he's not a basketball player. But obviously Alex is gonna get drafted this year.
Can we start a petition to give Brandon Jennings a ring?
I don't think there's any way he doesn't get one.
Like, can we please, for the culture, right? For the culture.
For the culture.
You give him a ring for the culture.
He was in the parade.
Man, he looked like he was having a blast.
Oh my God! It had to be.
He was sitting in the owner seats. Like there's no way. There's no way Brandon Jennings doesn't get a ring.
I mean, it's got to be about as good as like. I mean, he obviously he didn't get his chip, but like it's got to be a, you know, for a retired player, this has to be about as good as it can get, right? Like this is.
You saw Michael Red
like,
there. Red
like you know, like when you go and climb climb H2 or whatever. I don't remember what the fucking they call the mountains, you know, and like you don't get to the main summit of Everest, but you get to like the other one, and it's still like a super awesome feat. That's Brandon Jennings. Like, give him a ring. Sorry, I cut you off. Go on.
No, I've been thinking about all the Bucks teams too, and all the players. Like, I mean, Dan Gadzarich, Larry Sanders, like all the guys that came to Milwaukee that either were supposed to be something or were like what we just dealt with and thought like this is basketball for the decades of my life. Like,
I mean, that's small market ball though. Every draft pick you're hoping is something. You're hoping you're getting the cadge. You're hoping you're getting a cadge again, right? You're just like this.
Yeah.
You know, you're hoping. You know, the same thing happens in football where, like, we're hoping we get another Favre. We got a, you know, Rodgers. Who knows what's going to – Love's not Rodgers. Oh, God. So, like, you know, you hope that you hit in the draft. You hope that, like, that benevolent –
yeah, strike gold. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and that's the small market life. That's what it is. That's what even with Phoenix – even with, you know, Travis, I think, can appreciate this. Even with Phoenix, it's like CP3 to Phoenix is like kind of a big deal, but like that wasn't like his first option.
Wasn't the plan.
Right, yeah, like it it's like I'm going to Phoenix, we're going to win a championship there. Like it wasn't like yeah, go to LA, go to Miami, Atlanta, I'd posit. Like and either New York. Well, okay, you're going to stay away from like the Knicks cuz that organization is T-rash, but the Nets, yeah, like you're going to go for those. Like even a Seattle, like right? Like where there's not another sports ball. Well, I guess you got Portland too, but Seattle's not there. It's Portland now, right?
Yes, like the Supersonics have
no, they're New Orleans
since
now.
Durant was drafted.
Yeah,
like,
no, they're New Orleans now. Yeah, the Pelicans. Yeah, New Orleans is a big market team. Like, sorry, I have this old man thing where like I lock in the old team in where it was. Yeah.
Well, they became the Thunder, but that's not important.
I thought they became the Pelicans. New Orleans wasn't.
No, they became the Thunder. Charlotte
Hornets became the New Orleans Pelicans.
That's why I blocked it.
Because then Charlotte got another team. They were the Bobcats because it was the New Orleans Hornets for a little bit, and then the Bobcats were
they had a legal
historically
clause
bad.
or whatever, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they got the Hornets back, and now you get the Pelicans. But yeah, whatever. So let's wrap this up before I fall asleep or let me go.
No, I should. Yeah, it's
no, it's fair. Yeah.
Tyrant Mania getting in on our basketball chat.
Yeah, no, Tyrant Mania. Yeah, Steve, they're getting in on there. No, I just no, I mean, like I said, the small market life is it kind of sucks. Like I remember, they drafted Jabari too, and you're like, okay, this is it, the 1-2 punch, right? Yeah. Like, and just
and his knee exploded,
and then the other knee exploded. Like fucking hell, like. And you had Chris Middleton, but he had that like sort of, is he a legit second person guy and so on and so forth, and
the answer's yes.
Yeah, it is definitively. I mean, the Boston series proved to me he was. Like it wasn't like I had an inkling because I wanted to defend my homers, but you start to get frustrated and but yeah, like maybe now somebody's like, dude, if I go pair up with Giannis, I can get a ring and we can see like some sort of residuals going down the line from this because you have to think some superstars out there are like okay, Giannis just like popped off for 50, and like if I just show up and do my 20, like there's got to be some star out there. I don't know, but yeah, like small market life, it live by the draft, die by the draft, and it's the Dubs, what people don't realize is prior to KD, that was a homegrown team too.
Mm-hmm. Like 2016, 2017.
Yeah, they ran. So that was, I mean, it gives you a little bit of a like you're like, oh yeah, draft and develop, blah blah blah. But then there's large market too, so then you have other large market factors that help, right?
Yeah.
In terms of, so I don't know. So the point is this was a win for. This wasn't just like the Suns may have lost, but they also won because the small market way has been validated. The alternative to the super team has been proven to work. Like not just with them, but also with again like just just Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, right? Like you bring on
Thompson's back in October.
Yeah, so the Dubs, like. You don't have to like be all super team all the time. You can have faith in your players. You can. One thing that small markets forced to do is because they start to like Milwaukee Brewers are a fantastic small market team in just terms of community outreach. Small market teams care an awful lot more about their communities. Because they have to. They can't rely on the fair weather fans and the bandwagon to draw revenue all the time. They have to do. Like, you buy a Palermo's fucking pizza and you get a ticket. Oh, there's the Dubs. Your wife showing up. Good. Good. No, but I guess what I'm really saying is Steph Curry to the Bucks, right? Like.
Yeah, let's do it. Him and Giannis had a lot of fun at the All-Star game. So, I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not have fun with the two of them?
Yeah, right.
Oh, be the most electrifying sport in the world. Like just that.
Oh, people would hate that team so much.
Oh, they would though. They would.
there'd be no valid defense. It would just be like, well, I guess we have to hope that like
you can do nothing. Like
You do nothing. Like the Bucks, if any team was Steph Curry and Giannis, they are just the Harlem Globetrotters versus Washington Generals literally every night.
You get
three guys.
You get a point guard that'll distribute the ball to either of them.
They raffle off like random people from the stands 1-day contracts for the whole season.
You'll see any point guard in that team, you'll see him tie Scott Skiles' like 31 assist single game record or whatever it is. Like
every night.
Every night. It'll just be the new average, 30 assists for this dude, kicking it out to Steph, hitting Giannis on a cut, like
he'll make first team All NBA.
It could be one of us.
Give him the MVP for it.
It could be one of us, and we get 12 assists. Like,
all right. Final thoughts. Bucks, sports, passion. Let's go with you, Brendan.
It's been fun. It's been super exciting. Obviously I'm not from Milwaukee natively, so this was like the one thing that like I latched onto moving up here.
How did that happen?
How
did that happen, by the way? Because like you're a Bears fan. I don't know your baseball affiliation. I guess we haven't talked.
So I'm originally from Chicago. I'm a Bears fan. I'm a White Sox fan. I really never cared much about basketball.
Massive Purdue fan, obviously, like for collegiate,
yeah. And when I moved up here, the girl I was dating at the time, she was super into the Bucks, and her dad was the recruiter that got me to the place of my first job, and he offered me and the couple of other people he had recruited up to there tickets to a Bucks game, and I brought her because I knew that she's really excited about it, so I couldn't care less at the time.
Passion. Look at the right. Like if you want to, the thing I led with accidentally tying into this is finding something through the passion of someone else. Go on. Sorry.
So we went to the game, and it was like these were like really dumb good seats, like 5 rows back, like right behind the team bench, like just a waste on me, like just an absolute waste. And she was telling me about Giannis, and Giannis is only like 2 years younger than I am or something like that. And I watched him play, and obviously I'm from Chicago, so the mythos of Jordan is what live and die by. I was too young to really know.
You didn't watch him play, right? Like you're younger than me and Ty.
I remember one game that my parents, brought me and my brothers, and my sister was like either 1 or an infant at the time, where we sat down and like as a family, it must have been like the Jazz finals. Like I was like 5 or 6 years old. So I don't remember a thing other than like I remember watching a game. I don't remember what happened. I remember that like we had like really burnt popcorn. And she's telling me about Giannis, and I watch him play, and I don't know a thing about basketball, and it was against the Celtics, and I remember leaving that game going like, I need to know everything there is about this guy, because even though they got killed by the Celtics, just beat to garbage.
The Giannis effect. I remember that too.
I was watching him, and I was like, yeah, he didn't play amazingly, and he didn't put up crazy numbers, but like he was clearly the best basketball player on the court. Like in terms of just like
the move,
overall basketballness.
Yeah, the way he moves.
And as like I spent more time and learning about it, I certainly can't ever parallel what it is that he went through. But like the thing I latched onto was, just like me, this was a new city for him. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I've got that story with him, but I also latched onto this like unlimited potential kind of story. I came out of college and everyone was telling me like, there's like, you're gonna be able to do whatever you want. And I'm like, cool. Like, I don't know what that is though.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I know I want to be an engineer, but I don't know what it means. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I'm a mechanical engineer and I don't like cars. You know, it's so, you know, it's like as it's grown and developed and that kind of thing, you know, I was a season ticket holder. You know, I have spent some absolutely miserable Tuesday nights up in the nosebleeds of the BMO Harris Bradley Center. You know, watching the Bucks piss away 20-point leads against Cleveland, like against like Orlando, and I don't know, like there was also like these weird relationships like with the city this series that that I have in my in my personal life where I was like, well, this is just obviously reading way too much into it, but you know, it just Giannis won me over. You know what he was and where I was like when I first came to this city, like really struck a chord with me, and I was like, you know, it's like this is super what I'm interested in.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I actually like I know the BMO Harris Bradley Center was falling apart. But there wasn't a bad seat in that building.
Oh, you're so full of shit.
There wasn't a bad seat in that building. I
I
watched Admiral games there, like in the nosebleeds. All right.
There was a corner in the second level where you maybe had like this much room between the seat and the seat in front of you, and I remember distinctly having to like turn my feet sideways sitting down because I couldn't put my feet.
There wasn't a
straight,
seat
like,
with a bad view. There were bad seats. I've sat in all kinds of nosebleeds and I always saw the court. My profile picture on my burner account is still like I think the BMO Harris Bradley Center. It might be the Fiserv. Like, and I'm way up in the nosebleeds, and like the court is purple and green for crying out loud. Like,
yeah. So the long and short of it was, you know, I'd say is really fun, and I'm super happy with it, and
yeah.
You know, it's tough not to root for a lot of these guys. So
the underdog status is intense. Like PJ Tucker gets his rig before Harden. Woo! We had one player from the Lotto on the roster.
It wasn't even ours.
Brook Lopez.
And he was the end of the lotto. Like he wasn't even like
10.
He was a 14. Wasn't he a 13 pick or 12 pick?
Like 10, maybe. Because Giannis was 15, which
15,
is
yeah.
Just missed.
And I thought Brook Lopez was 10. Maybe he was like 12 or whatever. You can fact check me on that. But he's the only Lotto player on the roster. Like, you know, just the underdog of underdogs. The aging Lotto center, right? Like,
yeah. Where
one team was like, we need a center that'll fix our roster, right? That's why they lottoed for him. They reached. Travis, I know your perspective's been different this whole time, but like you're sort of like Final Soapbox or your lasting point about any of the, you know, Sun's perspective, gaming, passion, whatever it is.
I mean, Giannis plays amazing basketball, and I mean, as I said before, Suns are going to lose somebody. I'd prefer it be the Bucks over anybody else.
I don't think they lost so bad. I know it was in 6, but from my perspective, it felt like you had destiny against you. You know, like it's just the sort
prophecy.
of like the prophecy was against you. So it's like I'm like it could have been anybody in the finals. It was going to be in 6. You know, like if it was the Nets in the finals, if it was the Lakers, it was going to be in 6. Because around the time when like Giannis comes back from the knee injury, around the time Giannis is suddenly sinking his free throws, you know, like that alley-oop, you know, the literal stripped ball, like Drew, that could have been anybody there, right? Like when like it, from my homer perspective, my biased perspective, but like it just, to me, it felt like it just started to feel like destiny. You know, Giannis gets 50 points, 50 years since. It just, like, again, if I wrote this as a story, you'd be like, garbage. This is garbage writing. It's too obvious. Sorry, continue.
But yeah, I mean, I think for the Suns, I think this is like the beginning. Like when you talk about like Ayton, Bridges, Booker, and Monty, like if they keep those three and continue to like build around those guys, like I think that this is going to be the beginning for what happens with the Suns. I'm excited to see what happens next. Already ready for more basketball, and we gotta wait a whole month and a half, 2 months.
Best month is October, so
Right.
let's go. No, it's yeah. I mean, the sun. I was saying a lot of trash about like the sun setting and so on and so forth, but like the sun also rises. Hemingway. The sun also rises. For me, this is the dawn for the Suns. Like this is like they made it there. I mean, CP3, if they can't keep him locked down, I mean he is aging, but like his I don't know if like it was winded or if the Bucks just had the right plan dialed up. It felt a little bit like more like the Bucks gamed him some, and other pieces like Aiton's inexperience showed. But like, what's the thing is like this you've got like they're in the right direction. They punched teams in the jaw that nobody had them beating, too.
Right.
Like it was the same story the Bucks had going on the other side, like a revenge plot, beating a super team and then silencing the like random upstarts that could have ruined it for everybody. It played spoiler. Like the same thing was going on in the inverse in the Suns. That's why like this was such a great. Tons of brand new NBA fans happened right now. They put a bunch of great players on the national stage that nobody's talking about because they're not in the major markets. Like a bunch of new fans just spawned. Sorry, I'll let you finish up and then we'll.
Yeah, no, I mean that's pretty much all I have for it. Like I really think this is the beginning for the Suns. Like Booker, I think said it best. They got to skip a lot of steps this last year. They were hoping to obviously skip, one more and not have to have a finals loss. But I think they're all young. I mean, most the core guys are all young. Obviously, CP3, who knows what's going to happen. But I think that their team is very well set up, and they got a lot of playoff experience for a lot of people's first playoff run. So
yeah,
I'm up for it.
Yeah, and Phoenix isn't too far from Vegas, so they can try to attract to some big market style recruiting. Ty, your final soapbox here. Thank you for hanging. Both you and Brendan have like real bedtimes, so thanks for hanging out for 3 extra hours past it.
Well, passion, the story of tonight, and I think what's really cool about sitting here and talking with you guys for the last few hours is just it's always fun to participate in that like conversation, about stuff you like, be it AOS, D&D, basketball, whatever. So it was a super fun time. Thanks for having us on for 100. I'm not gonna wax poetic on more Bucks nostalgia, but Bucks and 6, and it was a hell of a fun ride.
Bucks and 6.
And
That's right.
Talk to people about what you like and share your passions, because that's that's the way you do it.
Don't hide it. Don't be like high school Meph and Ty. Like Don't that caused us tumult. Embrace your passion and find people who are curious about your passion and be curious about other people's passion. I think it makes life better. You don't have to end up passionate about their thing, but you'd be surprised how much residual heat, how much you can warm your hands by their fire. Of people who are passionate about other stuff. Like I'm still not watching skateboarding stuff, but for like one night I had like this awesome conversation with a person I've known forever on a topic we've never discussed. Like you'd be surprised how far like just letting a little bit of extra passion into your purview can take you. Last quick shout outs, just Cubic Shenanigans Podcast. Go follow it on all the platforms. Give them 5 stars and or thumbs ups on the important things. Down below me, got Ty, the Playin' and Slayin' podcast. They're more of a holistic gaming podcast. They talk board game reviews sometimes, like RPG talk. I forced them to talk about it a little bit more, but they talk 40K and AOS is a main chunk of the show too. So check them out. If you really want to see the powers of friendship in board gaming, that's Playin' and Slayin' for you. And anything you want to put on blast or shout out to, Travis?
Don't forget to tune in for Rantathon next week.
Yeah, and
Right.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So come back for Rantathon next week. The basketball talk will be a lot more limited unless somebody randomly tries to like get me Mass Effect 3 me, where like I just go off on a rant.
I'm gonna find a way.
You're gonna find a way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So Brendan, we're gonna take Ty off the schedule. No. All right, everybody. Twitch Prime. Thank you so much.
Ben Weiss. What's up, Ben?
Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime. And you know what? Thank you all for being on tonight. Episode 100 for me. I know we talked a lot about like basketball, but the core of AOS RantCast has always been about the sort of like adjacencies and seeing the parallels between like, loving Warhammer and how that translates to other aspects of our lives with a little bit of, remembering the people throughout the whole process. So for me, it felt super appropriate to like show this other thing I'm super passionate about. I should have done a little bit more of like the connecting the dots and been like, see, Zinch is kind of like
screw it.
No, yeah.
Nah,
Keep
nah.
All right. Good night, guys. Thank you so much for toughing this out for me. Chat gang, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Episode 100. Watch Rantathon next week. Tell people about the Rantathon next week. Donate if you can. If not, just take care of yourself. And I will see you around again on the internet. Thank you so much for watching. You're the show within the show. The reason I do this thing. Drink your milk, pay your taxes, and be excellent to each other.